All right, welcome, ATL sports fans. Welcome, ATL movie fans. Welcome, Miami movie fans. Welcome, movie fans from all over. Welcome to the show. It's your boy T Will and my guy, brother Noom C. We've done some podcasts together before. How you doing, brother? All well?
Yes, sir. Everything good. Wagwan. It's your boy, brother. I know him. City Sports Time Zone. Thanks for having me again. Once again, it's on. The chemistry is great. Glad to be back. ATL is my second home. So shout out to the ATL. Shout out to all my people in the fourth ward. Hold up them foes. I know about that. Shout out to Techwood, Boulevard, College Park, West End, all of that. So salute ATL fan base.
Salute. How you doing today, man? All well?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's a beautiful day out here. You know, the weather's great out here. Just about to enjoy some sunshine, man. Enjoy some sunshine and a good day. We got a playoff game tonight. New York Knicks, Indiana Pacers, Game 6. Who you got, brother? I wanted to know who you got in this game tonight.
Uh, you know what? I think I'm gonna go Indiana.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Indiana to close it out,
Yeah.
primarily because I picked the Pacers in 6, so I got to stick with my premonition.
You
But
gotta
yeah, I
be
say they close it
consistent.
out.
You gotta
They
finish what
close
you
it
start,
out.
brother. Gotta finish what you start.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. So
yes, sir.
yeah, so today we're here to talk about Love Jones, the movie. Released in 1997, an instant classic. It has stood the test of time. And I can't think of anybody better to discuss this with than Brother Noomsi. He and I see the world alike. And I just think this is going to be fun. So, again, brother, thank you for joining me. We do have a few others that will be joining a little bit later, but we're going to get started right now. And we'll let our other guests get in where they fit in. So, right off, I want you guys to remember this, all right? And those of you watching, I want you to remember this. Poem, do you want a beer? You trust me, don't you? In poem. All right. Brother Noomson, can you repeat that for me?
Go ahead and repeat that again.
All right. Poem, do you want a beer? You trust me, don't you? And another poem. I want you guys to remember that, all right? Just as
Okay.
we go through this, I want you to remember that. So, right off, Love Jones, released in 1997, great film, very intelligent look at love. Your cast include Darius, Lorenz Tate as Darius, obviously the protagonist, star of the show. Nia Long, who's playing Nina Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Darius. His name is Darius Lovehall. Nina is Nina Mosley. Isaiah Washington plays Savon, the best friend. Josie Nichols is played by Lisa Nicole Carson. Bill Bellamy is one of the friends, but he's also an enemy because he's jealous. So he's our number one antagonist. His character's name is Hollywood. Khalil Kane is Marvin Cox. A lot of you guys remember him from Juice. He's Nia's ex and another antagonist. Leonard Roberts is Eddie Coles, another friend of Darius. And Bernadette Clark is Sheila Downs, Darius's ex turned platonic friend. And last but not least is Jacqueline Fleming, who also plays Lisa, the third antagonist, or Darius's side chick. So just setting that up, letting you guys know who's who and what's
Yeah.
what. And
Wow.
with
My
that
man, my
being
man laid it out. You laid it out just like you was announcing a sports team coming out at left field. We have from excellent job. We love it. Excellent
I
job,
did it
Brendan.
that way, man. I should have. At best friend, we have Isaiah Washington playing Savon. At antagonist, we've got no. That's pretty good, man. I didn't think about it that way. All right, so in the
Yeah, I love it.
opening
I love
scene, uh, let me tell you something. What I loved about this movie, one of the things I loved about it was it's centered in Chicago, and the scenery of it is so authentic. The way the movie
Yeah,
starts,
yeah.
the different scenes from the city. the different
It puts
sound.
you right there.
Yeah,
Immediately it throws you right into it. It puts
yes,
you right there, and that's what I remember the most about the introduction and the starting of the movie is the way that it just immediately puts you into the mode and the scenery of where you are, which basically is a huge point and factor of how the movie plays out and the cultures and the different
yeah,
foods and different scenes that you see there. It's
yeah.
very heavily rooted in that whole Midwest Chicago type of vibe. But yeah, I mean to cut you. Go ahead, brother.
Oh no, 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 no. You're fine. You're fine. No, no, no need to apologize at all. You're right. Look, the culture of Chicago is very much essential to the story. Um, and when we see Nia, she's essentially going through a transition, right? She's moving. Her best friend is talking to her. They're moving, and interestingly enough, she's actually looking out the window and remembering love, ironically. And I want you to remember that because we're going to see remembering love at the end as well. There are a lot of things that were woven through this movie from beginning to end, and remembering love is heavily woven through it.
Yeah.
So she's moving, she's in transition, she's on her way to a new city, a new place, she's moving up. And I believe the other thing about this movie is that there were so many one-liners that
Oh yeah.
I taken with me like throughout my entire life. So the first thing she says is, hey, love is played out like an 8-track, right? Played out
Yeah.
like an 8-track. And her friend says, hey, welcome to the cynical side. Welcome to the world of the cynics. But I just thought that was interesting, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we move forward, and in the next scene, um, we enter the club, the poetry club. Now, a little trivia here. Can you remember what the name of the club was? And to those of you watching in the chat, I'm going to extend that to you as well. Can you remember the name of the club that they would do poetry in?
That's a good one. That was so long ago. I
Yeah.
don't remember the name of the club, but I know it was. I remember it being like a jazzy type of a name. But that's a good trivia question. Those of y'all at home, if y'all know, y'all help out old Noomsy over here. My memory, it's not what it once was, but go ahead and drop it down there because T Will is gonna one up me on this one, y'all. So help us out
Oh
in the
man.
comments. But go ahead, brother.
Hey, brother, it's definitely not about one upping you, but hey, I'll throw some hints out there. So think of home, think of a church, think of a sacred place. Your home is your, think of a place you feel safe. It's
Mm, your
it's a
tavern,
sanctuary. It's a
your
sanctuary,
sanctuary.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Called a sanctuary,
Okay.
right? Right.
Okay. The
So
sanctuary. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. But yeah, and it's appropriate too. And how fitting was it? Because that was the place that they all came to. There was such a huge expression of love at this place. So
yes,
this was like the sanctuary for love. So I
yeah.
definitely understand how that played into the storyline.
Yes, and poetry and culture, right?
Yes.
Because African culture is a big theme in this movie, and specifically in this place called the Sanctuary, where they come to express themselves through poetry and spoken word, right? So, the movie starts, and we see Ed, who is one of Darius's friends, and they're talking about romance and love. And Ed makes this comparison to romance being dead, and people believing in romance being hustled or suckers
Yeah.
or something like that. And then
Yeah.
we enter Darius Love Hall, bold and big as life. And the first thing he says is, romance is about the possibilities. Romance is about the first time you see her versus the first time you go out versus the first time you kiss versus the first time you do everything. And he essentially says, when people are saying that the romance is dead, what they're really saying is they've exhausted the possibilities, which is a very heavy way to start. And you look at this guy like, damn, who the hell is that? Right.
Yeah, that was strong.
And look, Darius is cool. Darius is in a lot of ways, he's a paradox, because he is a Renaissance man, but he's the way he's clothed in this is interesting, and we'll get into that in just a few frames. But he's got kind of a James Dean / Denzel Washington feel to him, right?
Yeah,
which we'll talk about. But Darius,
and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Which no, I mean, again, which also a lot of brothers that I know from Chicago around that time, that was their style of dress also. So he was again mirroring the environment that was portrayed in the movie. So yeah, I loved it. His attire, I ain't even gonna lie, he motivated me to rock a couple of outfits like that a couple times, and it was from his character. Yeah, and so transcending film in so many ways, as you'll continue to explain and break down for the people.
Oh yeah, the aesthetic of this film is tremendous. The colors used, the background, just phenomenal. But we'll get into that. But right now, I want to talk about the first meeting between Darius and Nina, right? And so, as we see here, Darius is, when he sees her, he's captivated by her, right? He is captivated. So he sees her, he looks at her, he's like, oh my God, he's beautiful. And immediately he goes into character, right? He goes into, wait for it, the shy brother, right? Right here, right?
Yeah,
He's doing this pose like he's just focusing on something, like he's so focused on this thing that he's thinking about. Because let's face it, look, Darius is a good-looking dude. It works for him. This is his way of pulling in women and kind of getting them to see him. And
it worked.
It did work.
It worked.
It did work, right? Do you remember what she said? Do you remember what she says to him?
No, what exactly did she say? It was a one-liner, I'm sure.
Well, so she says, well, wow, you're deep in thought. What are you thinking about? And he looks at her and he says, a woman I met once. Now, she doesn't realize at this point that this is all a ruse to get her attention, but obviously the woman he's talking about is her, right?
It's her,
the woman he's talking about is her, right? Now, I got a question for you, because I've debated this with people who've seen the movie before. So I got a question for you. Some people seem to think that at this moment, he's sitting there and he's looking at her, but he's thinking up the poem right then and there. I don't subscribe to that theory. I feel like he already had the poem. He just changed the name, right? Because the name of the poem is a blues for Nina. And it is essentially Darius's introduction to her. This is Darius wooing her, right? And even though it embarrasses her, this is still Darius's opening shot. This is Darius making his move and wooing her. And some people feel like in this scene, he's thinking about the poem. He's putting the poem together. I don't believe that, because that poem was too granular and too well thought out of. And look, I'm not saying he can't. I mean, let's be real. It is said that Jay-Z never wrote his rhymes. Still Goes from the Dome. It's said that Biggie never wrote his rhymes. And it's said that Tupac could do it as well. So not that it's not possible, but I just don't believe that, especially in all that we know about Darius and his character. And a lot of times in the scenes that we see him, he's writing out his poetry. I just don't see him doing this off the dome. But give me your thoughts. Here in the scene,
I'm gonna elaborate on that, and I'm gonna use an analogy for hip hop. I love hip hop. As a rapper, like you said, alluding to Jay-Z coming off the top of the dome, being able, yes, that's true. But every rapper every artist, every rapper has that one verse that they have memorized, locked in, and it's their go-to verse when they're in a situation. If somebody puts them on the spot and says, "Hey, I'll offer you a contract right now if you just give me something hot, give me something," and they got it. Darius, I think, knowing the kind of guy that he is, I look at that as he had this one locked and loaded. This was
Yeah,
his, like when I see her, when I see that right person, and I'm gonna know when I see her because he knew
yeah,
when he saw her. He's
yeah,
gonna drop that one. I think that was his go-to for all y'all rappers out there. Y'all know what I'm talking about in the
yeah,
comments. That was
yeah,
his go-to verse, and he
yeah.
saw it and he used it, and it was perfectly placed. And yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that was something he had locked and loaded. Sure, I'm sure he could freestyle something and could come up with something, but that was too. That one was too on point. And I use the same analogy with music, with rapping. You hear a verse, somebody spits, and you're like, "Yo, there's no way that was freestyle. That was
Right.
it was just too on point." But yeah, I think Darius, and he well positioned it because he got the girl, so it worked.
Right. And he named it a blues for Nina,
Yeah,
which I just thought was just a stroke of genius. But I think right here, what's going on is Darius is really saying to himself, all right, should I do this? Should I really do like that? She is bad. She is fine. I think I'm gonna pull
yeah,
this one out. I think this is what's going on, right?
yep,
This is what's going
yep,
on, unbeknownst to her, right? And so as
yep.
he's talking to her, whatever, and doing his thing, he spills a drink and fumbles. And what's interesting is, and the reason you know this is a bit is because the first thing that Wood says, and again, it's important to let you guys know Wood is extremely jealous of Darius. Okay.
Yeah,
Wood is one of those friends that's not really a friend. He's friends of other people in the group, but he is specifically jealous of Darius. He's envious of Darius. He wants to be Darius. And so the first thing he says is, I can't believe these chicks don't see that shy bit coming from a mile away. And as soon as he says it, Darius spills his drink and he's like, fumble, right? And they
yeah,
laugh about
yeah,
it, and it's kind of funny, right? And
yeah,
so then Darius just goes up, Darius goes up to the mic, he's introduced. And what we witness, and I gotta be honest, is one of the greatest performances in the realm of spoken word ever. This poem changed my life. I remember it like it was yesterday. Phenomenal poem, done to bass background music, excellent. This poem, when I think of Love Jones, this is the first thing I think of, right? And so if you'll give me a little license, I'm just going to recite it because I don't feel like we can do a review of Love Jones and not have it be done, right?
Go
So
ahead, brother.
forgive me. Obviously, I'm not Darius and I don't have the band behind me, but I think I'd be doing a disservice if I don't do it. So he says, uh, say, baby, can I be your slave? I've got to admit, girl, you're the shit, girl, and I'm digging you like a grave. Now, do they call you daughter to the spinning post, or maybe queen of 10,000 moons, sister to the distant yet rising star? Is your name Yemiya? Oh, hell no, it's got to be Oshun. Oh, it's a smile that you put on me face, child, wild as a field of jasmine and clover. Talk that talk, honey. Walk that walk, money. Hound legs that'll spank. Shit, who am I? Well, it's not important, but they call me brother to the night. And right now, I'm the blues in your left eye, trying to become the funk in your right. Who am I? Whatever you say. But right now, I'm that sight rape hunter, blindly pursuing you as my prey. And I just want to give you injections of sublime erections and get you to dance to my rhythm, make you dream archetypes of black angels in flight upon wings of distorted, contorted, metaphoric. Come on, Slim. Fuck your man. I ain't worried about him. It's you I want to step to my scene. Because rather than deal with the fallacy of this dry ass reality, I'd rather dance, romance your sweet ass in a wet dream. Who am I? Well, they call me brother to the night. And right now, I'm the blues in your left eye, trying to become the funk in your right.
You're
Is
right.
that All right. Oh man, when he
Oh
did
man,
that, let me tell you. And that was just the best, bro. That was the
that
best.
was the
Brought
one.
the house down. Brought the house down, right? And Nina's first reaction is she's embarrassed because
Yeah,
Darius is talking about sex and she's embarrassed, but she's still intrigued, right? She's intrigued. Um, and it's funny because afterwards, like Darius comes up, to the table, and they're all like, "It's great." And Hollywood's hating ass is like, wonderful, wonderful. Just again,
yeah.
that hater, that one friend
Hmm.
that's always got something negative to say that just can't
Yep.
speak anything into your life, right? And so
I know a
afterwards,
few Hollywoods.
oh yeah, I do too. I do too. I've met a few in my lifetime as well. I've
Yeah,
met,
I met a couple of Hollywoods in my life. Yeah,
hey, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
and in so many ways, like again, a lot of these movies from this era, what they did, and I'm gonna say this in closing because I got to check out here, but they mirrored so much of society or the culture, the society that was in place at that time. You had, like you said, you got your ambitious, young, motivated, innovative Darius. Then you've got Nina. Then you've got the hating homeboy, the friend who's always there. He's a part of it, but he's intricate to the plot because he brings the conflict that's necessary to kind of make it all come together. It always has to have the conflict, and he brought that, and I think he played his role exceptionally well as
He
well.
did.
Like
He did.
he was hating so hard in that movie, he made me start disliking him for real. I was like, man, I don't like this cat. Like, I don't like him, and that's the mark of someone playing an exceptional role. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you again, T. Will, for having me on. I would have loved to spend more time, but I got a few things going on. If anytime you guys want to check me out, you can come on my platform as well. But T. Will, thank you again, my brother, for having me input on this topic.
Brother Noom said it was a pleasure to have you, man, and you are welcome anytime. And I just appreciate you. Hey, man, tell these folks where they can find you before you leave us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can catch me the Sports Time Zone. That is my podcast. I'm the host. My co-host. Shout out to TZ Dave and shout out to my producer Q to Beat. You can catch us on YouTube. It's youtube.com/ at Sports Time Zone. There's no spaces. Or also catch us on Instagram, Sports Time _ Zone. Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m., 7 Central, nothing but sports topics, the latest sports topics. Every Thursday night, current events. All the current events going on in today's whatever's going on, we chop it up. And every Saturday it's the Music Underground Spotlight. So whatever you're looking for, we got it. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And again, T. Will, thank you for having me again, my brother.
No problem at all. Hey, it was fun to do it, and I look forward to working with you again. Have a great day, my friend. Enjoy the weather out there.
Absolutely. I will do. Blessings.
Blessings. Thank you. Sheree, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Wait a minute. Ray, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right. Yep, I can hear you. So, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, this is my friend. May as well call her my sister. She's my family. She's been at my house many times. We've worked together for darn near 10 years. And I value her opinion. And she did a podcast with me on Sinners. And we're going to be closing this out. Now, Sheree, am I correct to understand that we have another guest that's going to be joining us here pretty soon?
Yes, yes, yes. Let me see if they're having trouble.
All right, no worries. Take your time. You're good. You're good. No worries. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we're not gonna. There we go. There we go.
This
Hello,
is my
Cheryl. Are you there?
It's gonna echo. Hello.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Welcome to the For My ATL Sports One channel. You are live on the podcast with myself and Sheree, and we are talking Love Jones. And welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to meet you. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well.
Okay. All right. So, Sheree and Cheryl, now that I have you both with me, I'm going to take just a few steps back because we started a little before you, but that's okay. But I want you to remember these 4 things, okay? Are you guys ready? Oh, we got KJ joining. Wait a minute. KJ, how you doing, man? KJ, are you there? Oh, wait, you're muted. KJ, you're muted. I think you're. Oh, there you go. KJ, you there? KJ, if you can hear me, I can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
KJ, we can't hear you. All right, we'll let him work it out. All right, so Sheree, Cheryl, KJ, I want you guys to remember this. Poem, do you want a beer? You trust me, don't you? And poem. Okay? Can you guys remember that for me? Poem, do you want a beer? You trust me, don't you? And poem. Can you guys remember that for me? Because it's very important. KJ, are you there?
Can you hear? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Sheree, are you there? Oh, wow. It looks like the audio's going in and out. Sheree, are you there? Cheryl, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. So, Cheryl, we'll just let you speak for everyone.
I can hear
until...
Cheryl, but
Oh,
I
All right.
can't hear.
Say that one more time.
KJ, can you hear me? KJ, can you hear me? Oh, wow. KJ, can you hear me? All right. Sheree, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. So we're gonna just move forward and we'll let KJ work it out. So hey, Ray, just remember this. Poem, do you want a beer? You trust me, don't you? And poem. Okay? All right. So we're gonna move forward. So we talked about the castmates. Obviously, Darius is Lorenz Tate, Nina Mosley is Nia Long, Savon is the best friend, Josie Nichols is the best friend of Nia. Bill Bellamy is the first antagonist, the friend and enemy, one and the same of Darius. Khalil Kane is Marvin Cox, Nina's ex, also an antagonist. Leonard Roberts is Eddie Coles, Darius's other friend. And Bernadette Clark is Sheila Downs. And I really believe Sheila is the glue that keeps the group together. She is Darius's ex turned platonic friend. And last but not least is Jacqueline Fleming, who plays Lisa Martin, who is Darius's side chick, maybe, sort of, don't know. And we're going to move forward. So when we start, Nina's in transition. She's leaving Marvin because essentially Marvin just ghosted her, as the young folks say. And so she goes down to the club. We're skipping ahead a little because we've already talked about that. There's their meeting, their chance encounter. What we see before you is Darius is looking at Nina thinking, damn, she's beautiful. Oh my God, she's so hot. Now the thing about Darius is a good looking dude, but he's got this little bit that he does, right? And KJ, you're a guy, I'm sure you've seen guys do this, but it's called the shy bit, right? So he looks at her, right? This is the initial encounter. Oh, by the way, Ray, Cheryl, one of you, can you guys tell me the name of the poetry club that they met in?
I know it was in Chicago.
It was in Chicago, yes.
Was it Sanctuary?
Yes, you are. Yes, that's great.
Nice.
That's great. Good job. So they meet at the Sanctuary, right? So this is them initially meeting. And then next we see Ladarius goes into the shy brother routine, right? So now he's looking down and she says, what are you thinking about? Which is exactly what he wants her to say, right? And he says, a woman I met once. And she says, damn, she must have been fine. Now, what she doesn't know is he's really thinking about her. And Ray and Cheryl, I got a question for both of you because, and I asked this to Brother Noomsid before you, but I want to hear your point of view. I've gone back and forth with people. Some people think that as he's sitting there thinking right now, he's thinking of the poem that he's about to do in a few minutes. He's actually thinking it up as he's talking to her. Now, I don't subscribe to that theory because the poem was too granular. And when we see him write poems for the rest of the movie, he's always got a pen and a pad. So I personally think this was a poem he already had ready to go, and he just changed the name to A Blues for Nina. But Sheree and Cheryl, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that he just came up with this poem like, just off the top of his head? Or do you think maybe he just switched it and put her name in it? Like, give me your thoughts on that.
No, I feel like the poem, yes, he had. I feel like yes, he did add her name to the poem just to make her feel special. And when he was sitting at the bar and he was in thought, I think he was trying to figure out how he could smoothly say something to Nina, and by approaching her. That's what I think he was doing.
Right. Okay. Cheryl, your thoughts?
Oh, one moment, she dropped her phone.
That's okay. It's all right. Well, did she hear the question, Ray? Cheryl, you there? Ray, you there?
One moment.
That's okay. It's all right. No worries. We're having technical difficulty today, guys. Oh, she dropped. I guess she's coming back. Ray, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, that's cool. We're gonna keep going. I'll ask her when she gets back. So, Ray, the next thing that happens is Darius is called up to the mic, and he lets out a poem that will go on for generations.
Mhm.
I know the first time I saw this, my mouth dropped. Literally, I was spellbound. I was spellbound. I was captivated. I was enthralled. Um, Look, I've seen this movie at least 50 times.
Mhm.
And every time I see that scene where he does this poem, it takes me right back to 1997 and I'm captivated again. Now, I typically don't do this, but I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it the second time because you guys are here now. But I'm going to do this because to do this without reciting this poem would be criminal. So, goes up to the mic. Now, again, Sheree, Cheryl. I'm not Darius, okay? So forgive me. I don't have background music, and I'm not Darius, but I'm gonna give you my best Darius impersonation. Are you
All
ready?
right. Yep.
So here we go. He says, "Say, baby, can I be your slave? I've got to admit, girl, you're the shit girl, and I'm digging you like a grave. Now, did they call you daughter to the spinning post, or maybe queen of 10,000 moons, sister to the distant yet rising star? Is your name Yemiya? Oh, hell no, it's got to be Oshun. Oh, is that a smile me put on your face, child? Wild as a field of jasmine and clover. Talk that talk, honey. Walk that walk, money. Hound legs that'll spank. Shit, who am I? It's not important, but they call me brother to the night. And right now, I'm the blues in your left thigh, trying to become the funk in your right. Who am I? I'll be whoever you say. But right now, I'm that sight rape hunter blindly pursuing you as my prey. And I just want to give you injections of sublime erections and get you to dance to my rhythm, make you dream archetypes of black angels in flight upon wings of distorted, contorted, metaphoric. Come on, Slim. Fuck your man. I ain't worried about him. It's you I want to step to in my scene. Because rather than deal with this fallacy of this dry ass reality, I'd rather dance, romance your sweet ass in a wet dream. Who am I? Well, they call me brother to the night. And right now, I'm the blues in your left thigh, trying to become the funk in your right. Is that all right? And the crowd, I mean, it goes crazy. The place was electric. The theater was electric. I'd never seen that before, and I just wanted more of it, and it was great. And talk about Sheree and or Cheryl. Doesn't matter who goes first. Talk about your first impressions. The first time you see this performance of this poem. Just give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I enjoyed it, of course. Um, to me, it kind of set the tone for the movie.
Yeah,
Um, just wanting to see how she kind of embraced what he was saying, how she
right.
felt about it. Um, of course, we can speculate and assume, like, okay, I think she kind of was digging him. She probably was thinking, I can't wait to hang out with him later and do whatever it is that they were gonna do. But overall, I felt like it kind of set the tone for the movie. to me.
Yeah, yeah. Ray, your thoughts?
The same. I feel like it set the tone. I felt like he was reaching when he was trying to serenade her with his words,
Right,
uh, and thinking that that was going to be very poetic to her. It was, but she kind of felt like he took it to a like a sexual type uh,
right, right,
feel. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
Um,
right,
so
right.
she wanted him to reel it in, or come at it with this being your first something to me. It could have been a little different.
It's kind of like slow dancing and copping a feel at the same time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's verbally that's what it felt like, right?
Hmm.
Although creative. And look, this is Darius wooing her. This is
Right.
Darius laying his Mac down in all his splendor, right? All his faults, just putting it out there. And we're gonna see. But it's funny because initially when he comes back to the table, right?
Hmm.
Savion is like great, Sheila's like great, Wood is like wonderful,
Right.
Sarcasm.
wonderful. And he's a hater, right? And look,
Hmm.
we all got
Yeah.
people, we've all at least had people like this in our lives who maybe belong to the same group, but they are essentially envious of us. And we're going to see this come into play as we get deeper into this story. But it's just interesting to see the green ooze and gob that's all over Wood as Darius comes back to the table. You guys got an experience with haters or stuff like that? You know
I
any folks like that? You see any
I
people like that?
actually have KJ sitting with me since his phone didn't work, so he can comment as well too if you like.
All right. KJ, how you doing, man?
I'm good, sir. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was like I was buffering, so it just was in and out. So I just said, you know what, let me just drop off, and that way I can listen in. But yeah, I'm here.
KJ, there's no need to apologize. We're glad to have you, whether we got you and Cheryl on the same phone or not, man. I'm just happy to have company on this journey, right? And we're going to have some fun. So, KJ, look it, man. I know you've seen some haters out there. Talk to me about the dynamic between Darius and Wood here, just at least in the beginning, in your mind's eye. Can you kind of shed a little light on that for me?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's pretty apparent just based on the energy that he gets when he comes back to the table that you can see the envy that's there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, as the movie goes on, you see, like you said, you see kind of how it plays out, and yeah, he's the villain. He becomes the villain in the movie,
Yep.
and so. Yeah, I mean, not to go. I don't want to, be spoiler, even though we
Right,
saw it,
right,
right?
right, right, right,
Yeah, but
right.
yeah, you definitely see that, and you see that in life too. When people
Yeah,
are shining, you always gonna have somebody who's gonna come in and they're not happy for that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunately, you can get that from some of the people that you feel are the closest to you,
Oh
including
yeah.
family.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
we've
what I
all
was looking for.
experienced that, and I can see
Yes.
the struggle between people when they really care about you and love you, but they just don't know how to not be jealous or
Right.
envious of you. It's like a
Right.
sickness that they just can't
Right.
control.
Yes. 100%. You hit the nail on the head, right? 100%. So, um look it. They meet up, the meet and greet on the street, as I call it, the after convo, right? And the look on Darius's face is Darius sees Nina coming towards them, right? And the look on his face is like, oh yeah, I got her. Ooh, I got this one, right? Oh, I got her. I got her. I put that thing down, and here she come, right? This is the look on Darius's face. Now, the first thing Nina says to him is, interesting point, right? But there are other topics to discuss besides sex, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
Wood's hating ass is like, oh, well, what's wrong with sex? And she says, well, there's nothing. There's just other topics, right? And Darius says, like what, right? And she gets the pen out and she goes to write on his hand. And what's interesting about this is Darius is assuming that she's about to write
His
her
telephone
phone
number.
number on his
Yep.
hand, which hell, in the theater. I'm assuming it too. Like, okay, he got her. And that's not what she does. What she does is she writes the word love. And she says to him, but I guess you wouldn't know a thing about that. And before we move forward, guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't say how many one-liners came from this movie that culturally we still use today, right? Even in the club, right? When they're talking about romance, Savon says to Wood, brother, try a breath mint and a visa. And Ed says, when he's talking about jealousy, and because they realize Wood is jealous, Ed says, stop and just walk away. And it's hilarious, right? So I love that. But hey, give me your thoughts, Sheree, on this interaction and your first thoughts on when they get together outside of the club. Give me your thoughts on that.
To me, as a female, um, the guy was, feeling kind of cocky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
for her to like play him to the left, but still
Right.
be in like a flirtatious way, because she was leading him to make him feel as though, he was about to get something else. So of course that made him feel good. Her grabbing his hand and writing and all that made him
Right.
feel good, right? And then
Right.
to put something, a word opposed to a number, that
Right.
just, that set it off. You know what I'm saying? Like that let him, like, he still wanted to have a smile on his face, like he still
Right.
appreciate her giving the word, but
Right.
it was like, dang, I wish it would have been a number as well. Like I thought it was
He,
great.
he was embarrassed a little bit, but she's playing hard to get here, right?
Yeah.
Cheryl, can you speak to that? She's playing hard to get here. No, because I mean, look, and I
Yeah,
no,
probably playing a little hard to get, and probably I mean, her girlfriend, of course, the wild child.
yeah,
They probably frequent places like that, and she's a pretty
right,
girl, so she's probably used to being picked up, and she may not have been as impressed as he thought that he was impressing her.
yeah.
So maybe a little bit hard to get, and a little bit of you got to do a little more.
Got to come a little better than
You
that.
got to come a little better than that.
Got to come a little better than that. KJ, you sound like an assertive brother. I'm sure you've been there, man. I know I've been there where, you certainly think you got this girl in the palm of your hands and, oh, wait a minute, she calls an audible. KJ, that ever happened to you, man? You ever have that experience where, hey, you know what? You think you got this girl in the palm of your hand and what did you say, Ray? She played him to the left. KJ, that ever happened to you?
I can't say that it has, just
Oh,
because
wow. Okay. Oh, wow.
and I'll tell you why. And this is not. This is basically comes from, like, I tend to, I might play like the shy guy initially, but it's more like always letting them feel like they're in control, even though there might be things that I'm wanting them to do, but always giving them the power. So it's kind of like it doesn't feel like I'm pressing them to do anything. It's just letting them. It's kind of like if you're teaching your kid how to ride a bike, right? You don't go out and right off the bat and just say, hey, I'm gonna take off the training wheels and let you ride, right? You're there, you support them, you're talking to them, you're giving them the confidence, and then they're like, don't let me go, don't let me go, don't let me go. You're like, no, I'm not gonna let you go. Always feeling like you're there until you're not, right? Until you're saying, yeah, I'm still here, I'm still here. They hear you, but you're not holding on to the bike anymore. Now they feel like, all right, I am relinquishing some control, right, to allow them to feel like it's at their pace. I don't have any other agenda. I'm your friend. I'm here to just, even if I want you, I don't want it to come across that I'm desperately trying to get you, because it just now it's like this chase, and I don't want to do that. I want you to feel like it was your idea, even though it was my idea all along. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of
Yeah,
how I come at it.
I get it. You trying to be the best friend, boo.
Sort of.
I
he's
get it.
he's letting them go at their own pace, or he's manipulating one of the two. I don't
Right,
know,
Both.
a little
A
bit of
little bit of
both. A
both.
little bit of
but
both.
hey,
Because it's
hey,
like I'm gonna give them enough. I'm not kind of trying to be put in the friend zone, but
yeah,
so I'm not playing it that way. But I'm
right,
also not coming across as, man, you really, and it depends. It might work with some women, it might not work with
Right,
others. It just
right,
depends, right?
right,
So
right. No, you. Hey, look, T. Will was definitely about the chase. Yes, I did speak of myself in third person. But T. Will was about that chase, bro. Hey, we about to do our dance. Let's go. You either
right,
gonna reject me or not, but you are about to witness the strength of this game. So,
right, 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 right.
it's just interesting. It's interesting to see this play out, right?
It is.
So next, you know what I mean? Darius walks. Excuse me. Darius walks away embarrassed. You know what I mean? But it's okay. They're teasing him, and I think one person even says, "What is it about you?" So obviously, Darius has this magnetism to him, and what was interesting to me was just the wardrobe of Darius, because first off, he drives a 1950s motorcycle.
Yep.
And he also in this scene has on a white t-shirt and a black leather jacket, which is a callback to James Dean,
James Dean. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so to me, his character is kind of a mixture of James Dean and Denzel Washington all rolled up together. And just and a lot of fun, right? So they really picked the right guy to play him, because even though he's a Renaissance man and about poetry and music and philosophy and all of this stuff, he has this sort of quintessential urban-esque cosmic cool about him that just makes him relatable, right? And so he meets her at the record store where his friend Sheila works, right? Sheila is the ex-girlfriend of his who's now the platonic friend, and she points her out and says, "Look who's back there." And so he walks up to her and he says, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, and she says, wait, what does she say? She says, "Darius, right?" She says, "Darius, right?" And she obviously knows him, but this is her way of again of saying, "I don't appreciate what you did." To Cheryl's point, I don't
Mhm.
appreciate what you did, right? So in true Darius form, he says, "Well, hey, I want to play a song for you." And the first thing she says is, "Look, the last time you did something for me, you embarrassed the shit out of me. I hope this goes better." Right. And so he puts on this record of Charlie
Coltrane.
Parker,
Was it Parker? Yeah.
which is a classic tune. We've heard it in several movies, several plays, just wonderful tune. And they have a conversation about sad versus melancholy, right? And she sits there with him and just takes in the record and takes in him, and it's like she's considering it, and he's still talking to her, and she takes him in for a moment. And Sheree and Cheryl, I'm sure you guys have been pursued, by men before, and you guys,
Mhm.
she's still at the entertaining stage, right? She's still pondering the decision. Ray,
Mhm.
Cheryl, talk to me about this. Talk to me about what that's like for you guys as females when you just meet a guy and you're kind of interested, but you're still filling him out. It doesn't matter who goes first, but speak to that for me.
Um, when you like a guy but you're still feeling him out.
Yeah, yeah, you're not
Um,
sure. You're like, is he a serial killer? I mean,
right.
what's to this guy? What's that process like for you?
I think it really boils down to just conversing with him, just getting to know him better. I feel like the more you talk and ask questions, the better you can understand the person. Sometimes it's just that one thing that either you're looking for in a person, something that you appreciate yourself or like doing, that he can say that one thing that may take it to the next level for you. So, for instance, I'm talking to somebody, they're pursuing me, and we're just, the basic questions are always asked and things of that nature. I tend to get a little more intrigued when they say things like, "I'm from Chicago," because I'm from Chicago, or something that we may have in common. Then, it piques my interest a little more. So it's just that conversation with someone and them talking to me and saying things that pique my interest that makes me want to continue to talk to them.
Right.
Um, or they may say things that I'm not interested in that may then let me know like, okay, this isn't the one. So it's just that that give and take. Like if they were like, oh yeah, and I'm a smoker, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do you. Like
I
there's
hear that.
it's a deal breaker. So I
I
have deal
hear that.
breakers and I have
Amen.
things that pique my interest.
Amen. Amen. Ray, how you feel about it?
Yeah, I think I definitely dig when I'm being taught, when there's like a lesson, something to learn from the conversation, because
Okay.
I really get into what is being said, and that's how I feel a person out. Like if you just like a one word wonder, whereas we're just talking about just sports all the time. I don't mind talking about it, but I'm not really familiar with it, and it can be kind of like I guess not as interesting to me. But if you're speaking about something else, like some kind of computer something, or I can really get into that, and or some kind of medical something, I can really get into that. And
Some
so
herbs.
it'll hold the conversation to the point where I can get to know you, a little better. And like yeah, like Cheryl said, if it's some stuff that's just being talked about that I'm not interested in, it can go real boring, and then I'll start drifting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. KJ, look, man, I'm sure you put your thing down clearly. I've heard your approach, but we've all as fellas, we know the moment when it goes wrong, right? You know the moment when you say that one thing and you can just see that look come over your face and you're like, damn, I just friend zoned myself.
Right.
KJ, talk to that, speak to that for me. Speak to that. Like you ever, well, maybe you haven't. I don't know. Maybe your game is that strong, but you know,
No,
speak
like
to that for me.
I mean, I've like so for example, go out on a date and it the vibe is just off, right? For
Yeah,
whatever reason, right?
yeah,
And so when you see that it depends on like how interested I might be in the person, where it's like, is it worth pursuing to try to see if we can get this back on track, or
yep,
if it's like, you know what, it's just, yeah, the vibe is just not there, and we there's no real recovery
yeah,
at a point, you know what I'm saying, where it's kind of
yeah,
like, all right, like the person may not even, just in the conversation itself, is like, yeah, I'm not as attracted to them anymore. They might not be as attracted to me anymore, just based on how the dialogue is going. Because like, to me, it's like, if we can hold just a conversation about a variety of different things, but there's an interest there in the conversation, to me, that's intriguing over just a visual. Like if I look
yeah,
at you and you look fine and everything else, but we can't even have a conversation, then you're gonna lose me anyway, right?
yeah.
So, but yeah, there's been those type of situations, and at that point, we just like, you know what, let's just gracefully bow out and be like, it's been a nice evening, and
Check,
you
please.
know,
Check,
yeah, check
please.
please, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll go ahead and take you home after this. So it's cool.
Yeah. So look, it. He puts his Mac down. She sits there. She considers it, and as she listens to the song, she gets ready to leave, and he says, "Hey, maybe we can grab something to eat right now." And she's like, "It's nothing personal. It's just the timing of it." And he's like, "I understand." And so this is the second time she shot him down, right?
Right.
And he talks to Sheila, and Sheila says, "Didn't I school you? Women like to take it slow, right?" But here's what's interesting. And to any fella out there, any of the fellas who are watching this, if you want to know if a woman is interested in you, okay, this is gospel. You can book it. You can book it, fellas. When she leaves and walks away, if she does this, if she turns back to look in your direction, she's at least interested. If she does not turn back, forget it, boys. Forget it. Shop's closed. You ain't getting anywhere. But any woman that you're with, if when she's getting ready to leave and she starts to walk away, if she looks back, she's at least interested. And Nina does this here, right? And of course, Darius has a conversation with Sheila. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is one of those things in 1997 that you could do that nowadays you'd probably be locked up for stalking. But he procures her address from Sheila and shows up. This was a 1997 thing, because I promise you pull this in 2025, it ain't gonna go well. It is not gonna go well. So Ladarius shows up at her place, you know what I mean? And he's like, look, I'm persistent, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, you'd be surprised at where it could get you. And they have the conversation. And he's like, look, don't have me coming back here, week after week after week. I'll bring you print CDs. And that brother drop a CD a week. And back then he pretty much was doing that, right? And she finally acquiesces, right? And agrees to go out on a date with him. And so she agrees to meet the friends, right? So Cheryl, I need you guys to speak to, and I need you to answer this in twofold, right? Answer it as if this were 97 versus if this were now. So if this is 1997, Sheree, and let's just say you're of age, right? Because I know you're younger than me, but I was 27 back then. Let's say in 97 you were of age, right? And some guy just shows up at your place. Are you going to let him in? Now, you are attracted to him, right? But are you 97, young in her 20s, Sheree? Are you letting him in, or are you checking him at the door?
No, if I was really feeling him and he showed up at my door, wow, I let him in.
For those of you in the chat, young Sheree and old Sheree are having an argument right now.
The scary me would have left that door closed, but the one who is probably feeling him, I would have, maybe stepped out in the hallway.
Okay. So you'd have had the conversation out in the hallway. Okay.
Yeah,
I can dig it. I can dig it. Cheryl, are you letting him in, or what are you doing? Young Cheryl. Young Cheryl.
Cheryl. Well, I probably would have invited him in if I liked him. I probably would, only because he's not some random guy that I met. We may have like similar mutual friends. Uh, shut up, KJ. Cutting up over here. I would have invited him in, yes, to just kind of talk it out. I think just the way he looked and his approach of meeting her wasn't like something that you experience all the time.
Right.
So
That's true.
that was a check mark for him.
That's
Then
true.
happening to bump into him at the record store, it's like, okay, maybe this is fate.
A bit
Okay.
of destiny. Yeah.
Right. Still didn't give him the
Okay.
number though. But
Okay.
it's like, okay, maybe this is fate, maybe this is destiny. And then for him to go out of his way, get my address, and then show up to my house, I would have been like, okay, he put in a little work. I'm gonna let him in.
That now see and see right there. That's the thing KJ was talking about. That's the difference between women, right?
Yeah.
Because you said he put some effort into it. Some women were like, he's crazy. No,
Right.
I don't.
A little
You know what I mean? I don't know
He just-
stalker, right? So that's a real thing.
Yeah.
KJ, I've never followed a woman that I didn't know to her home. Now I have procured some phone numbers from some homies and called up some women. I've done that, but I've never been so bold as to get a woman's address and show up
at her house.
album. I never did that. KJ, we're talking about young KJ here. What's the wildest thing you've ever done in pursuit of the opposite sex that you can share?
The wildest thing, probably. I'm trying to think about it. The wildest thing. Basically, go when I knew the lady was going to be at. I think they were going. Her and her girls were going to the movies or whatever like that. And I was obviously interested in one of the friends or whatever like that. And we had talked before, like a group. It was a group of us all talking. And we was some of the fellas, we were like, yo, we come to the movies with y'all. Like, no, it's just gonna be us. We're just gonna go by ourselves. We don't want no guys and stuff like that. And so, at that point, we just decided, like, look, we're just gonna bum rush. But the fellas that I was with, they were like, nah, man, we ain't gonna go up there. They tripping, da 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 da. So I actually ended up going by myself.
That's what's up.
So yeah, and it was weird because I mean, I was going into the Lions Den. It was like it was a bunch of girls and stuff like that. But I ended up just going and showing up to the movies, and we actually had a great time. It was cool.
That's what's
They
up.
weren't tripping or whatever like that. At first they was kind of trying to give me the weird look, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But then,
yeah.
I was like, y'all do y'all thing. I'm just coming to watch the movie, stuff like that. But it was like, man, come on, let's go. And we all, yeah, like I said, we had a good time and it was cool.
That's what's up,
So
man. That
yeah.
that that's definitely what's up. So,
Yeah.
guys, I just want to encapsulate everything Darius. But what was funny to me, and this was one of the things that kind of stood out about the movie that was kind of funny, is if you look at this, nobody's wearing a helmet, right?
Right.
Now, my wife is an African American woman. Okay. In no way would she have taken this ride and gone from point A to point B and her hair still be in place. So that was like my one issue about this, because when we see them, they both have shades on. If you've ridden a motorcycle before, the first thing you're going to know is her hair would have been all over the place. Okay? They're on the freeway. Her
Right.
hair would have been all over the place. But nevertheless, Darius is getting his James Dean on. He is cool, driving a 1950s bike, a walking Renaissance man. And I just thought the scenery, the city, and the backdrop was just something. And then in the next scene, we see Nina on the bike. It's twilight. It's almost nighttime. So they obviously had to ride for like 20 or 30 minutes. And she's looking back. And just she and Darius, to me, just they make a great couple. They have chemistry right off the bat. And I'm gonna go back to the scene I had before. So sorry, guys, I kind of stacked this out of sequence a bit. But we're at the point in the dinner where they're sitting down. This is after Sheila was doing her African mating dance, right? And Sheila says, "Well, God is a woman," and whatever you're feeling about this, look, this ain't the place for that. I'm not discussing religion. This is for the purposes of this movie. Okay, so anybody watching this, please don't get upset. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is what was said in the movie, and this is what took place. And Ladarius's response, well, yeah, God is a woman, right? And Ed and hating ass Haywood are like, look, we with you. We understand you trying to impress your date, but come on. And Darius does something that is common throughout the theme. Savan is always his wingman, right? So Darius says to Savan, hey, Savan, break it down for him. And Savan says, let me break it down so it can forever be broke. And again, this is one of those lines. There are probably about 15 of them that just this movie is a hallmark to urban society just because of the writing alone, right? So Savan says, hey, let me break it down so it can forever be broke. I've used that. I've used it to impress my wife. She didn't know it because I saw Love Jones before her. But anyway, Savan says, you know what happens when a man gets an erection, right? He doesn't say erection, but I'm going to say that for the purposes of this. You know where the blood comes from? The blood comes from his head and his feet. So A, he's stupid, and B, he can't run, which I thought was great. It was wonderful. It's fantastic. Everybody loves it. They all end in laughter. I thought this scene was just good friends having fun. It was funny to me. Ray, Cheryl, tell me your thoughts on this scene and what you're thinking as you're seeing it for the first time.
I actually don't even remember that scene.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it did make an impression on you.
No,
Okay.
it's it's been a long time since I've seen it,
I
and so
get it.
that one.
It's
Sorry.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. There are no wrong answers. Cheryl, do you remember the scene? Let me ask you. Do you remember the scene, Cheryl?
Where she meets the friends and she's doing the
Yeah.
African dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the scene.
Okay.
Um, what's my thoughts in regards to the scene?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, I guess that kind of was like the next step where,
Yeah.
okay, I'm feeling this person, let me bring them around my friends to get their opinion of it. You know,
Yeah.
everybody has the meet and greet where you got to
Yep.
meet the friends, you got to meet the family. So
Yep.
when you're filling somebody out, it's like, okay, I got to bring them around the people that I love the most so that they can fill them out a little bit.
Yep.
um I think she was a little nervous maybe going in, but I think it just really gave her that first look to see each person individually to kind of get their characters acknowledged.
Mm.
Um uh Overall, yeah, I feel like they just kind of was a quick little meet and greet, and then the guy being who he was kind of showed his tail a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's fair. Uh KJ, I know you're Mr. Cool, but talk to me about meeting the friends and what's that's like for you. Talk to me about that. Meeting the friends. Talk to me about that.
You, I think. Well, so I don't know if I've mentioned it to you. So this movie is actually one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mine
Right.
too.
Right.
Mine too.
So
We
I've seen.
share that.
Yeah. So I've seen this movie multiple times, but the reason why I really loved the movie is because first of all, just having a black love story
Yes.
told in this genre was just beautiful,
Yes.
right? And
An
then
intelligent black
right,
love story.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
And
Right.
it reminded me of my friends, my culture, the people
Yes.
that I hang with or
Yes.
whatever. So in that scene, it reminded me of the gatherings that we have when we fellowship. We jonesing on each other, we're talking, we're laughing, we're dancing,
Yep.
we're doing all these things. So it
Yes.
was like looking at, again, like how everything was relatable to me. So
Yes.
that's,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I got from that. And the fact that she got a chance to, because he knew that he had good people, even with Wood hating ass, he had good people around him. So he
Right.
knew by
Right.
bringing her into that space
Right.
that she would see another aspect, another
Of
side of
him.
him
Of him.
in a
Yes.
way that kind of opened it up and made her feel like, man, he's got, he's surrounded by good people, good vibes and stuff like that. So yeah, she, I think is peeling layers back, with each move, right?
Right.
And then it showed his relationship with his friends that he could bring somebody like that around them, and because he was really feeling this chick, and he's like, these are my people, so I want to
Right.
introduce you to my tribe. So yeah,
And he was safe. He was
it,
safe. He felt safe to do
he
that.
felt safe even with Wood hating
With,
ass. Yeah.
except for where exactly.
You
At
know what?
perfect.
You made a good point though. That when we saw this movie for the first time in 97, we were those characters. We were their
Absolutely. One hundred
age. We were
percent.
dating the way that they were
100%.
dating. We were
Yes.
looking for black love. I have a
Yes.
cousin that this is his favorite movie. He has posters in his home of the movie. Like
Yes.
it's so many
Yes.
people that are our age that love this movie so much because it was so relatable to what we were going through at that exact time.
Right.
Like we wanted to meet a black, what's his name? Dean Carey or whoever. We wanted to meet somebody like that on a 1950 motorcycle to come
Right.
sue us like that.
Right.
The black men at 20 something, years old wanted to do something different to impress a girl. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because growing up, we only knew what we knew at that time, and it was, hey,
Right.
you go walk up to a girl. We didn't have cell phones and stuff. It's like,
Right.
hey, how you doing? But it's like, oh, he's showing us we can do it another way and be smooth, and women relate to this. Like it was
Right.
teaching the young black men, and the women was oohing and eyeing, all cooing over it because we was like, okay, we want somebody to do that to us. It was so relatable.
Right. And the culture, right? So let me tell you what, let me
Yes.
tell you what, let me tell you what I loved about this movie. What I loved about this movie. Uh and I gotta be honest, I'm not gonna say that. But what I loved about it, I had a thought, but what I loved about this movie is that all of them were professional, but they were still down, right?
Yep.
There
Yep.
wasn't any, oh, I've got this, and not. They were still down. They were
Yeah.
Yep.
still relatable. They were still about the movement. They were still about the people.
Yep.
They were uplifting and upwardly mobile, and those two are often not friends,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Because to be upwardly mobile and uplifting, a lot of folks that are upwardly mobile, they ain't lifting up anybody. And I'm gonna leave that right there. Again, this is not a geopolitical conference. I'm not getting into that, but I'm simply saying that I love that about this movie. I
Yep.
love that about this movie. I love the culture of this movie, right? I
Yes.
just I love it. And guys, we're essentially about the same age. This movie, The Wood, Best Man,
Mm-hmm.
are all just near and dear to
Classics.
my heart, right? Like,
Yes.
to give you an example, in The Best Man 2, when his wife dies, I cried real tears because I felt like
Mm-hmm.
she was one of my peers because I was there for the first one. I
Yeah.
was there when they got together. I saw the whole thing play out. So 20 years later, when that happened, that was a hard movie for me. That was
Yes.
oh my God. I did, and we're
Mm-hmm.
watching the movie and my kids are looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Like, and I can't stop it because it was personal for me because I was there for the first. So Cheryl, you're on to something when you say that this was us, right? And to that point, right? It's interesting. So when they leave the friends meeting, he's like, hey, you want to go dancing or whatever? So they go to some Jamaican spot and they go dancing, and then they get back. And again, this is one of the most famous lines ever. And it's also one of the most famous lies ever that every guy has ever told a woman. And it's just, hey, can I come up? I just want to talk. And the first time I saw this, everybody in the theater laughed. Even Darius is laughing right here because he knows it's bullshit. Like, he's sitting there like, hey, can I come up? Now, this is after he and Nina kiss or whatever, and she's like, oh, it's the first date. I don't do this. And he's like, yeah, you're right, right? And then he looks at her, he's like, I just want to talk, right? And she knows he's lying, but she wants him, right? This is the dance. This is the dance of man and woman, and I'm pursuing you. And
Mm-hmm.
Nina's like, you know what? Come on up. And they do the grown folk. And if you
Yeah.
guys don't know what the grown folk is, I can't tell you. Use your imagination. But they do the
Google
grown
it.
folk. And wow. Okay. Wow. Wow. Now, when I saw this, I gotta be honest, this reminded me of my wife. Not that this happened on the first date, but just like after our first encounter, the way I walked away, like, damn, I can't feel my heart. It's not in my chest. Shit, I think I left it with Kim. Like, it was that sort of just exchange, right? And it's interesting because the next day he wakes up making omelets. And ladies, if a man wakes, well, you know what? I'm not gonna say that in every case. But in his case, clearly an impression was made, right? So he wakes up the next day and he's making her omelets, and he's like, do you want anything else? And she's like, don't ask that question. And it's inferred that they do the grown folk again, right? Which I thought was just interesting because, again, I'm all about the chase. And this was just one of my favorite parts of the movie. I thought it was great. And then, they go off and now they're telling their friends about this. And we're adults. We've all lived this where you have this encounter with this person. You're wowed. I mean, they call it putting that thing on you. She put that thing on him. And Darius is telling his friend, and Nina is telling her friend, and they both are like, hey, we're just kicking it. We're just kicking it. And really, it's like they have feelings for each other, but they don't want to talk about it yet because they don't want to jinx it, right?
Yeah. Don't want to jump the gun.
They don't want to jump the gun, right? So they both agree that, hey, you know what? We're just kicking it, right? And again, this movie is filled with so many one-liners. So as Darius and Savon are playing billiards, that's pool, are playing pool, right? And he says, "Man, that's better than Michael Jordan comeback." This movie is it's filled with so many lines, right? And so again, we'll move forward because we can't spend there are a lot of slides to this. So they progress, the relationship progresses. And I want to spend a little time on this because this is essentially the beginning of their relationship, right? So the first time that Nina visits the Bat Cave, and Kevin, you can talk to this because we've all experienced the first time your girl comes over, right? This is an important time in a young man's life. Hey, hopefully you took down all the pictures of your ex. You know what I mean? Well, this was back in the day because I don't even think people have pictures hanging up anymore. They mostly keep them in their phones. But back in the day, in 1997, right, you probably had pictures of your ex or pictures of at least significant others that you once loved or whatever. And when you had the girl to come over, you couldn't forget to put the pictures up, which, I kind of did from time to time. But anyway, the first thing he says to her is, he says, "Rarely do I divulge the secret location to the Bat Cave. You lucky that I don't knock your ass out with some spray," right? And they laugh about it, right? And they go upstairs and they're talking and they're feeling each other. And she's a photographer and she picks up the camera and she says, "Take your clothes off." And he's like, "What?" She's like, "Take your clothes off. I've already seen what you got." And so, he starts doing his pose or whatever, and he takes his jacket off. And he says, "Now, I know you're a photographer, but I just want to make sure that, these photos won't end up in the wrong hands." And she said, "No, baby, this is for my personal collection." And he stops, takes his jacket off. He's not taking his clothes off. And he reaches out to her and he pulls her in. And she says, "What? You don't trust me?" And he says, "No, it's not that. But this is essentially, whether or not they want to acknowledge it, the quasi beginning of their relationship, right? Look at KJ, Cheryl, Sheree. We've all been here where we've officially started a relationship, but we don't say we've started a relationship. Sheree, talk to me about what this is like for you, and talk to me about, when you saw this, and just talk to me about your feelings on this.
So
Sure.
um so
Wait.
She gonna make something up. She gonna make something up.
if y'all can see my
Save
face
it.
right now.
Save it.
Ray, you all right? You
I don't
okay?
I don't
Say
remember.
the question again. What you want to answer?
All right. So Ray, when you're at the unofficial official beginning of a relationship, in other words, y'all have gone together, y'all done the grown folk, but nobody said it out loud, right? But there's this feeling betwixt the two. You feel like you're together.
Uh-huh.
Speak to me about that. That it's almost kind of like a cool thing where, like, you see each other every day, you're excited, but nobody said out loud, "Look, we in a relationship. We go
Right,
together,"
right,
as we used
right.
to say back in the day. Nobody says we go together anymore, but we go together. Talk to me about that.
Well, if I'm, in that scenario where we've done the do, and now we're, even though we haven't
Block the
said
box.
okay, we are in a relationship, I would just really go with the flow, and I still would probably be in that moment of, like butterflies, still kind of
Yeah,
that shy moment. Even
yeah,
though we've done the do, I still would be in that same area, but it would be a little it would be fun. You know what I'm saying? I would still be ready to have fun and enjoy each moment that we're creating. I could see myself, doing a lot of staring because I'm a starer, right? So I can see myself being
That is
caught in the
true.
oh
moment of,
wow, oh
just
wow.
staring and being being caught doing it, you know what I'm saying, and then have to chuckle or laugh or whatever. But
Oh wow.
yeah, that's what I
She says,
that's what I would
she says I'm a starer. Oh wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Cheryl, give me your thoughts on that.
Well, a couple thoughts. One is that the universal language of we do to do, I like you, and in my mind, we together, and in some cases you visit and you just never go home. Like you almost live together after you do the do's in some
Right.
relationships.
Right. Right.
Um, my big thing is to make sure you're on the same page as someone. It
Yep.
goes back to what I first said as far as communication,
Yes.
talking through things. I
Yes.
think the best way so that you know that you're on the same page is like, hey, what are your intentions?
Yes.
Like, are we just dating? Can I date somebody else? Do you want to be exclusive? Like, those things need to, in my opinion, come up as a topic sooner than later, only because you don't want to waste somebody's time.
Right.
And we're all adults, so if we're just doing this to be doing this, hey, sometimes I'm fine with that. But if I'm not and I'm feeling you a little more and I want a little more, then I feel like we should be open enough to just have that discussion and be on the same page.
Hey, what 100%. Guys, I got to do some inventory here. We got some folks in the chat. I've been neglecting them. Deshaun Coswell says, "What up, T. Will Yeet? Get some." A1 Forever Sports, friend of mine, and Deshaun is always a fan in all the chats, and love me some Deshaun. Chris, good friend of mine, do podcasts with him, says, "What up, T. Will and guest? What up, Chris?" You could probably label Chris one of my brothers from others. Chris says, "Sheesh, I'm coming in like a savage beast. I want you. I like to hunt. Hey, I can dig it, Chris." Chris says, "I'm not showing up at nobody's house." He says, "The wood helped raise me," and he's laughing. So that's cool. Just wanted to catch up on that. Sorry, guys, didn't keep up with it. So, KJ, look it. I know you've been in this situation, man. Let's talk about that time, and it's interesting, Cheryl, that you said in your mind you're together, but it hasn't verbally been spoken. And I want you to
Yeah,
hang on to that. I want you to
yeah,
hang on to that
that
because
has
that
happened.
plays a pivotal part in this. It
Yeah.
really does. KJ, talk to me about that time before you commit. You're having fun. You're seeing each other every day. Maybe you've given her a sock drawer. Maybe she's giving you a sock drawer. You're at each other's places. Your stuff is between places, and everything is great. Talk to me about that euphoric stage in a relationship, if you would.
Uh, I mean, it's like that it's like it's that fun stage. If
Yeah.
you're at that point where you're really feeling this person, and you find yourself wanting to just do damn near almost most things with them. I mean, you still, like you still go out with your fellas and y'all hang out or whatever like that. But when it comes down to like, times where you could be like, I could be at home chilling by myself, but I'd rather just be having, have her
Right.
here. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, it's that, that feeling like, man, this is like you said, Ray said it earlier, maybe, you still have butterflies when you think about them all the time.
Yep.
If they ain't there, you on the phone with them, and you know what I'm saying, and you're looking forward to the next time you're gonna see them and stuff like that. So yeah, those are those beautiful moments that you want to say, okay, look, if I can encapsulate this and make this a lifetime of existence,
Yeah.
that would be wonderful. But yeah, just that's those are the beautiful stages of the relationship that you hope that you can kind of keep
Yeah.
going, even though
Yeah.
relationships, they evolve and they change, but
Yeah.
that first initial stage is it's beautiful. If with the right one, it's beautiful.
It is. And you hope that you can hang on to it forever. It's so funny. When I met my wife, I was so encapsulated with her. I used to get nervous. Whenever I was around her, I'd forget where I'd be going. We'd be going someplace. I go the wrong direction. Oh my God. She had my mouth wide
She
open.
had you. She had you, bro.
She had I'm bro.
I
She
can hear
had,
you.
she
I can
had
hear the
me.
way you're talking about it
She
now. Like,
had, she had my mouth wide open, man. Look, the first time
That's
I
a
met her.
great thing.
Oh, it is. It is. First time I met her, I was at Club 112, which I'm in Atlanta, so I don't know if y'all know anything about
112.
Atlanta, but
Oh
Club
yeah,
112 back in the day, back when it was a circle, back when
yeah,
literally it was a spinning circle. So it's like there's a restaurant like the Sundial where it rotates. The bar at Club 112 rotates. It did
right,
back in the
yeah.
day. So she walks in and literally time stops. I mean, time stops. You know what I mean? It's like those Spike Lee movies where they're on this cart and
Yeah.
they're not walking, but they're just kind of moving. That's how she moved. Time stopped. Now, normally in my normal state, I probably would have been intimidated by my wife because she is just, she's just beautiful. And she was in her heyday then, and damn it, time stopped. My heart's in my foot. But I had some liquid courage in me. So, I was like, hey, fair game. Let's go. Let's go. But I walk right up to her, bold as hell. Hey, you want to dance? And I remember what was playing. It was Luke Skywalker's Come On, Come On, Come On, Come On, right? And my wife is all prim and proper. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, I know. And like, I'm a dog. So I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? And she's having none of it. And anyway, this was our initial dance. I'll get into everything else later, but anyway, this is the stage that they're going through where they just can't get enough of each other. And y'all know how the devil works. Y'all know when God sent a good thing into your life, what happens? Well, the devil gonna bring back the old thing, right? And what happens? Marvin's old trifling ass decides to show back up after he just left her, ditched her, never responded, ghosted her, as the young folks say. And he's like, I want another chance. Oh, I miss you. I want you in my life. I'm not good at words. And drops the ticket right there. Now, ladies, I got a feeling we you know what? I've spent an hour with you guys, me and KJ, and we've been getting along. But I got a feeling right in a few minutes, KJ, it's about to get real, KJ. Okay? And I'm not saying it's gonna be us against you ladies, but I'm just saying we're probably not gonna agree on what goes down. All right? But because we're covering this movie, we gotta go here. All right? So she comes to see him, you know what I mean? And look I'm not mad that she decided to go and see him because she needed to find out. She needed to find out if she still had feelings. I'm not mad about that. I am mad about what she did
Right.
when she found out, like, I didn't like that at all. But we'll get into that. But this is my disclaimer, ladies. I love you guys, but we're probably going to disagree. Okay? Is that all right? Ladies, can we proceed? I just need to know. Can we
Yep.
proceed? All right. So I can always tell Cheryl getting ready to tear my ass up. All right. So
I stay ready, so I don't have to
I
get
know,
ready.
I bet you do. I bet you do. I bet you do. See Cheryl Ray's a sniper. You never see her coming. I see you coming, Cheryl. Ray gonna shoot you. Oh damn! I thought we were good, Ray. What happened? So anyway, ex-boyfriend, old stupid ass Marvin comes back, right? Oh, I hated him. I hated him. God, I could stand his ass. He comes back, and he lays the ticket down, and I got it. I still hated him, right? And so we come to what I call the test. Now, remember, one of the first things that I said to you guys when we started this was, do you want a beer? You guys remember that?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So in this scene, before the bad news is delivered, Darius comes out and says, do you want a beer? Right? And she says no. And then she proceeds to say, I'm going to New York for a trip. Or no, no, no. She introduced it like, we've been having really fun. This is great. I love being with you. This has been so much fun. I'm getting ready to go on a trip to New York, and I have business that's professional and personal. And Darius says, some dude. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I just want you to know I'm not trying to play you. I'm trying to be honest, right? And Darius and KJ, I know you with me, brother. I know you with me. I know you've done this, KJ. I know you've done this because you're a man and you got testosterone running through your blood. You say one thing, but you really mean something else because you don't want to look like a chump. So Darius says, we just kicking it. I ain't got no rings on your finger. Now, ladies, what he wanted to say was, please don't go. Please don't go. Please. I've had so much fun with you. It's been great. I think about you. You're the first thing I think about in the morning and the last thing I want to see at night. Please don't go. But we got this thing called the ego, ladies. And his ego just would not let his knees bend. So he does the opposite, right? Because, and I say this because Nina and her best friend have a conversation, and she says, you go, girl. You tell him you're going to go. And if he stops you, then there's no need to go, is there? So she's testing him, right? Because I really believe that her plans would change if he did say, no, don't go. But because he's like, well, no, we're just kicking it, and I'm not going to say that she wouldn't have gone, but I definitely think it would have changed. It would have changed some variables in the situation. But she decides to go. But he does what every guy does in this situation. We're afraid to leave with our heart. We're afraid to do that because we don't want to be crushed. And he definitely does. He does what any red-blooded male would do, especially back in 1997. I know we're in the generation of feelings, but look, back then, every guy I know would have been, we're just kicking it, girl. I got no rings on your finger. Go ahead. But really, in his heart, he's like, don't go. Please don't go. KJ, have you done this? Talk to me about this scene, brother. Give me your thoughts on it.
Oh, definitely. It's happened where, you let your pride and your ego
Mm-hmm.
get in the way, and you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, yeah, thinking one thing, saying another, and then regretting it after the fact. So,
Yeah,
yeah, you definitely, because I mean, you see it in his face when he
you
says it.
definitely see it.
You
He's
see it in his
crushed.
face when he says it.
He's
Um,
crushed.
right. And so it was like, and then you could see, from her expression as well when she's saying it, she wants him to say, don't go,
Right,
but and I agree with what you said. I think that had he said, actually, I wouldn't tell you not to go, but I really don't want you to go. And I think that she might have still gone on a business side, but I think the dynamic, like she wouldn't have gone to like, let me still see what's there with me and Marvin because I don't want to mess up what this, because this person is now he's telling me that, where he is.
right,
So
right,
yeah, it would have
right,
changed. I think it would have changed that whole,
right,
that whole interaction. So
right. Miss Cheryl.
Oh,
Oh,
so
let's talk about it, Miss Cheryl.
I
Let's
got a
talk
couple
about
things.
it.
So first off, yeah, the pride and the ego of man can, make you lose a lot of things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Secondly, um, to circle back to another statement that I made earlier, if they'd had the conversation of what are your intentions with me,
Right,
they may not have even been at that crossroad because they'd have
right,
known a long time ago, okay, we're in a committed relationship, we're
right,
doing XYZ. But because they didn't do that, now they're standing, asking each other this question. And um I feel like they should have been truthful, of course, but the movie wouldn't have played out the way that it did. But just being truthful about your feelings at that time and just letting someone know, like, hey, I care for you. I want to be with you. Now you go ahead and make that decision. But you know, back in 1997, we were in our 20s, mid
Mm-hmm.
20s. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the things that we
Mm-hmm.
did back then, and
Mm-hmm.
we played a lot of games. You know,
Yes.
we played
Yes.
a lot of games with each other. Hey, do this, and if they do that, then you
Right.
know.
Right.
Now that
Right.
we're older, I'm hopeful that we're not playing those games anymore, and you're just being honest about your feelings to let somebody know how you truly feel, and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And you look at, you said it. They're young. They're young
Hmm.
and they're immature. And sometimes people don't know. Look, nobody wants to be vulnerable. Nobody wants
Yeah,
to put themselves out there, right? It's like,
yeah.
oh, you make the first. Nobody wants to do that. So there is this game that people play. Ray,
Mhm.
talk to me about this. How you feel? Because I got this getting ready to get deep, y'all. It's getting ready to get real interesting. I can't wait. Because I know we're gonna
So
be on different sides when we come to a certain point. I know that we are. Okay. And for the record, those of you who watch Friends, Rachel and Ross were on a break. And if you watch Friends, you know what I'm talking about. I just had to say that. They
Yeah,
were on a break.
that
I know that Cheryl doesn't agree with me. I know she doesn't. Okay.
good.
I know she doesn't. But they were on a
Good.
break, Cheryl. Dagnammit, they were on a break. Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheating. They were on a break. Ray,
Tomato, tomato.
whatever, Steve. I knew it. I knew it, KJ. I
We see,
knew it.
look, we see where those breaks get you
Yeah.
with all the celebrities out here with these
They were
bonus kids.
They
Them
were
breaks get
on
you
a
in
break.
trouble.
They were on a break. I
Yeah, them
know it.
breaks
I
get you
know
in
it.
trouble.
I know it. I know it. Ray, talk to me about this. Talk to me about what's going on here in
so
this
I
dance that they're doing.
I agree with Cheryl. Like when they were talking about in the beginning, right? If you're upfront and you're, communicating, where you guys are in your relationship, that's one thing, right? And then the vulnerability of it all. She didn't want to be because she really didn't know where they were, even though they had relations with each other. She didn't know where they were as far as a relationship. So this was her way of trying to feel him out as well, just to see, where they were going, or what was his thoughts and things of that nature. Um,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts.
No, you're right. You're right. Whew, boy, let's get into it. Let's get ready to get deep, y'all. Get ready to get deep. All right. So uh she goes to New York and no, I'm sorry. Let me take a step back. Let me take a step back. So Darius is crushed. Okay. He's crushed. And he does what guys do. He goes out with, with your friends, right? Men and women are different. So I truly feel like if the roles had been reversed and the same thing plays out, I feel like that instead of being at a bar, that that Nina and her friend would have been either at Nina's house or at a friend's house, and Nina probably would have been crying because she would have been honest about her feelings. But because they are men, right? Darius and Savon are having this conversation, and he's like, yeah, man, she was the one. And Savon is tripping and coughing or whatever. And Darius is like, I got you. I got you. You thought that, man, she ain't the one. Man, FBI been on my tail for years. They still can't catch me. And Savon says, hey, let me see your wallet because it's got to be bad motherfucker on it. And he gets up and walks away. And what I think they really do a great job of, when you pan in on his face as Darius is getting up and walking away from Savon, you see he's truly crushed, right? But this is what men do with each other, right? Men, I can't call my friend and be like, this happened and I want to cry, because my friend emotionally, he's not going to be able to deal with that. Now I can be like, hey, me and Kim are upset. We're going to go out and drink beers. But men talk in code behind walls, and we're vulnerable to a certain extent, or at least we were in 97. I don't know about these young dudes now, but the way my friends and I would handle this is exactly how Darius and Savon handle it, in that Darius is communicating without communicating, right? He's saying it without saying it. right? And so he gets up, leaves from the table, goes to the bar, and enter the side chick, Lisa. And they meet eyes, and it's ironic that he's there with this friend talking about the girl he loves and how she's leaving him, and how in his mind she's really done him wrong, but he doesn't want to say that. And he meets Lisa. KJ, we've all been in this situation before. Give me your thoughts on this.
As far as like, what do you mean, like what he's thinking or what he's like? You talking about just the scene in general or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
specific?
the scene in general. Yeah, yeah. Give me your thoughts on
Uh,
it.
yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, in describing it and how they filmed it, right? So, you know, that old saying is like the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else,
You're right.
right?
Correct.
So it's
Correct.
that,
Correct.
so he's kind of like in his feelings about it, like, man, why would she even leave and blah blah blah. So he's like, you know what, fuck it. Let me just go ahead and get with,
Yeah.
this. At least it's a distraction, right? It
Yeah.
gets me. And so you kind of saw how it was going, that played out. And it's interesting. Well, I don't want to go too far ahead, but
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
got
that's just kind of, that's like, again, this is one of the reasons why this movie was so brilliant, because it was like the things, there were so many words that were said, so many phrases that we utilize, we even say to this day, but it was the emotional things that weren't said, how they filmed it, his emotions, and these things that they captured that said a lot about the story,
you.
about
Yes.
the actual scene.
Yes.
And so yeah, it was just, I mean, it was excellent. Excellent.
KJ, you hit on something, and I think needs to be said, obviously, for these two beautiful ladies that we're talking to, and any ladies out there. So the differences between men and women. Well, at least I don't know about these folk nowadays, but back when we came up, was that when you experience a breakup, a woman is going to go to her friends and cry and get it out. Oh, he ain't there. Get it out, but get it out.
Right.
Your friends are your therapy. Guys can't do that. So a guy would do exactly what he did: go to a bar with his friend and meet another girl, because men are physical.
Mhm.
And as discourteous as it is to say this, at this point, Lisa is nothing more than therapy to Darius. That's it. Because his heart is literally with Nina, but in his mind's eye, Nina has mismanaged it. And I don't think she has, because honestly, I applaud her honesty. Look, this guy just up and left her. So there are clearly unresolved feelings, right? It's a complicated situation.
Right.
And up to this point, I don't have an issue with what she did. Now, when she gets back, oh, that was foul.
That was
We'll get
foul.
into that. That
That
was
was, yeah,
way foul.
yes.
That I'm still mad about, because that was foul. It's certain
Right.
things you don't do. Okay. Not that I'm upset about it. I'm not.
But one of the things too, and I think you were kind of touching on it, was that, as men, especially back then, like having comfortable spaces where, because we're taught, like, first of all, men don't cry, men don't show
Correct.
emotion, they don't,
Correct.
so it's
Correct.
like having this, these spaces where it's kind of like, okay, where can you, or how
Where
can
can
you
you go? Right. How
like,
do you release this?
right,
How do you get this off? Exactly.
right, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
so good.
Exactly. All right. So guys, we're gonna move forward. Nina leaves town. Wait, what happened? Who left? What happened? Ray, are you there? Wait, hold up.
We're
I
still
think
in.
she's gone.
Cheryl, you there? Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. Maybe her phone died. Okay. All right. Well, guys, we'll keep the party going until I'm sure she's coming back. So Darius leaves town. I'm sorry. Nina leaves town. Darius entertains Lisa. Okay, and we see them hanging out, and what's interesting is, and so I watched this. I probably watched this twice before I did the podcast. I watched it once yesterday and once again today, because if I'm doing it, I just like to watch it again just so I can relive it and go through everything. But when you watch a movie, when you go back and watch it, sometimes you see things that you didn't see before. And what's interesting is when Nina calls Darius to tell him she's leaving. Yeah, Ray just got back. Okay. All right. Yeah, we lost for a sec, Ray. We're glad you're back. So when Nina calls Darius to say she's going out of town, Darius is entertaining Lisa. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys something, and you probably, I don't know if you remember it or not. Do you remember what Darius does when Lisa approaches him as the message is playing? Can any of you guys remember? Because I missed this the first 30 times I saw it, right? So if you can't, it's okay. But Lisa mouths, because we hear Nina's message playing over it, but Lisa mouths to Darius, "Who is that?" And Darius says, "It's nobody." And I had never seen that before, right? I had never seen that. So that kind of blew my mind because I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And he did that because essentially Darius feels betrayed. Now, he hasn't communicated this to Nina, but he feels that way. And it's a little bit of manipulation on his part because he can't say, "Oh, this is the girl that I'm really in love with," because then Lisa's not going to want to hang out and she's not going to want to provide therapy. So there you go. So anyway, Nina leaves town. Darius entertains Lisa. Nina goes up to see Marvin, and right away, it's amazing, right? This guy totally abandons her, gets home from work, and he's an asshole. The first thing he says is, "Who ate my toasted oats? Who ate my freaking?" And I'm like, bro, you ain't learned nothing. You ain't learned. You should have treated her with kid gloves. You should have had her bath. If you're really trying to win her back, you should have had her bath drawn for her. You should have gone out. You should have been rose petals in the apartment. Like, you really should have gone out of your way. Bro, you gonna argue over some damn toasted oats? You petty bastard. Like, oh, I hated them. And right away she says, "You know what?" He says, "Oh, you're gonna say that after all these years?" And she realizes, Marvin, all we have is all these years, and that's just not enough. And she leaves the ring on his finger while he was asleep, which is a message that says this is over. And I just thought that was great. But I thought it was just, to me, for him to be that way when she got back, sometimes a person doesn't love you. They just love you being with them. They love your life. They love their life with you in it, if that makes sense. They don't love you. They don't love you, the person, right? Because they're so self-absorbed and self-involved. They can't see anybody else's perspective. You fit into their world. They don't see your world. They don't see you. And this encompasses this, because you got to be an absolute idiot to leave a woman, abandon a woman. She leaves. The fact that she would even take a chance to come see you, you should have been on your A1 behavior. So Marvin's an idiot, and this pretty much takes him out of the game.
It kind of
Cheryl.
seems like that's kind of what their relationship was anyway. They really didn't touch on it, but I got the feeling like it was all about him during the relationship anyway. And
Probably
he
was.
felt like he didn't have to put forth enough effort
Right.
because one, she stayed with him that long. And then secondly, it didn't take much for her to come right back to him. All he had to do was send her a ticket. He like, "Oh, I
Right.
still got her. She'll be back at
Right.
the house." And what she do? She came back to the house. So she was used to that behavior, but it's
Yeah.
like now she didn't saw something a little different.
Right.
Somebody
Right.
that paid her a little attention, somebody that,
Right.
wooed her and pursued her. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go over here because this is what I'm used to. But when she went back, it's like, okay, but I had a taste of something better.
Right.
I don't have to put up with that. Now I wonder if she hadn't met Darius, would she stayed with him?
She would have probably
Probably would have.
stayed.
Probably would have.
Yeah, cause she went back
Probably
so
would have.
easily. She was willing to go back, drop everything with Darius because of what she had with him and what she was used to.
Yeah.
But once you go there and you finally the light bulb goes off and it's like, you know what? I can get better over here. Now let me leave him and try to go back and get him. You know what I mean?
Right.
That weird
Right.
game once again that they're playing.
Right. Well, to this point, I don't think she's playing a game. to this point, I think Nina has
Well, I
been
only
cards
said
on
that
the
because
table.
of the way she went back and then all the other stuff that
Oh
happened.
yeah. No. I get it, but I'm just saying, up to this point, I
Yeah,
think Nina has been upfront, and I applaud her
I
because she
agree.
was honest. She didn't have to say anything. Matter of fact, when she's having a conversation with the friend's like, "You gonna tell him?"
Right,
Like,
right.
girl,
I
you
agree.
like. So I, to this point, Nina's all right with me. Now,
Hmm.
y'all know what she does when she gets back. But
Right.
anyway,
That's the game
that
I'm talking about when she get
right
back. All that
there
mess.
you go, there you go, there
Crazy.
you go, there you go. All right, so Nina comes back into town, right? She goes to the club, the sanctuary. She doesn't see Darius. She's excited about it, and she wants to see him. And she happens to be in the library the next day, next week, or whatever. And she sees Darius with Lisa, and she sees Darius kissing Lisa. And this, as they say, is the turning point in their relationship. Because at this point, Nina becomes a savage. So Nina sees them, and the thing about it is the difference between men and women, and this is gonna sound so misogynistic, but men are physical. A man can go and be with a woman and think nothing of it. Now, I'm not saying it's right, okay? But again, this is recognized. Lisa was therapy to Darius because Darius was in love with Nina, and Nina stepped on his heart. And Darius held it in and took it like a champ, okay? And he doesn't know that Nina is back because I gotta believe, and KJ, brother, back me up on this. If Darius knows that Nina's back in town, he would have dropped Lisa like a bad habit.
I think so. But also wonder that would he allow his ego to take over and make it seem like, again, like, okay, you went to go be with your ex. I don't know. I can only imagine what happened, right? And let that be something that can define how the relationship will go or doesn't go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. That's, you don't, that never, that's not how it was written. So
Right.
they didn't explore that, but it's interesting. Like I think about myself, if I'm in his shoes, right now, at my age now, yeah, you're more like, I'm gonna let you know how I feel, this and that, because if I feel like you're the one, I don't want it to be anything that I'm doing that will prevent us from being able to create a relationship together, right? So I'm gonna put an ego aside and all that pride. I'm gonna let you know, hey, look, you back. I still love you. I still feel you. Let's, see where this goes. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do agree with you. I think that, if he knows she's back, he's just like, you know what? This is the one, let's this time I'm not gonna tell her it's okay for you to go. I'm gonna let her know how I feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and move forward with that. But yeah,
Right. Right.
yep.
Right. And Cheryl, what you said is so key. And look at KJ. Communication is key, but again, you in order to communicate, you have to be able to be vulnerable. And in
Yep.
order to be honest with anybody, you gotta feel safe, you
Yeah.
know.
Do you
So
do you feel like she should have really been in her feelings when she seen Darius with Lisa, knowing that she just left him to go?
oh Ray, I just love you, Ray. Oh, I love you, Ray, because damn it, you read my mind. She had no business doing that. Matter of fact, that is quite hypocritical. How you just gonna come from New York? Now, we did not see them get together and do the grown folk. That doesn't mean they didn't,
That doesn't mean
right?
they didn't.
The writers chose to not share that, and that's okay. But we don't know. But in Darius's mind, he's got to assume the worst,
They did
right?
all the things.
Right.
So it is very hypocritical of her. And Ray, I'm surprised you called that out. I'm speechless because, and again, present company excluded. When I discussed this movie with most women, present company excluded, this is where we get into it. Because most women were like, well, and I'm like, no, how can she doesn't have the right to be jealous. You can't say to somebody, look, I'm gonna go and explore this, but you sit here and wait on me.
And I think that, I mean, she could be jealous, but you don't. That's not something.
Yeah,
That's something you have to work on. You like, all
correct,
right, cool.
Right. She
I
has to
correct,
find
Yeah, I
that
don't
for
feel
her to do.
correct,
comfortable about it, but
correct,
that's I can't, like see yourself in that way. Like, all right, I'm not tripping. I can't be a hypocrite like you
correct,
said, right?
Right.
So
correct.
yeah.
Well, it reflects both of their immaturity because, again, the way she responds is incredibly immature and selfish, right? So again, we move forward and enter that hating ass, thieving ass, jealous ass, punk ass Hollywood antagonist to Hollywood. He's obviously jealous of Darius, wants Nina for himself, shows up at Nina's job to have his photos taken. And again, one of the most famous lines ever. The Billy D thing is a little played out, but I will give you 10 cool points for nostalgia's sake. Just again, the writing in this movie was great. They did a really good job of just crafting not only a great story, but just the dialogue was phenomenal, right? And he says, well, hey, I'll get the works if you agree to have dinner with me. And you know what? She does. Now, honestly, I think she does this to be a little vindictive. They
Of
never say
course.
it.
Yes.
It's never expressed. But you have to know that this is this man's friend. And this is foul, and there's no excuse for it. And look, if this had been some random dude, I got no issue with it because, again, even though you did whatever, okay, you're bothered by Darius, cool. You kept it out of the family. This is some random dude. But you go to someone, not just a friend, but someone in his circle, that's wrong all day, unnecessary roughness, 15-yard penalty on Nina, lost her down 100%. I can't defend it. It's just foul. Okay. And hey, she agrees to go out with him. She does. One thing about Wood, he's funny, he's entertaining. They go out to dinner, they have a great time or whatever. And look it. So Darius is working on his book while he's doing that. And Savan, his boy, calls him and says, hey, your girl's back in town. He's like, man, she ain't my girl. And he's like, oh, that's good. Because let me tell you something you didn't know. Right. And so he finds out. And then we have the meetup at the sanctuary, right? Where it all goes down. And let me tell you something. This was like Ali versus Frazier, but it's what men do when they compete over a woman, right? So, Darius is sitting down with Sheila. They're having a conversation, and Wood comes up in his leather jacket and his striped shirt and his shades on, and he's like, Darius, how's it going? What's up? Whatever. How's it going? And he's smiling and he's really gloating, right? He's saying, in your face, I got what you want. I got it. I got it. In your face. And Darius is like, what you been up to? And he's like, oh, I've been working this new job. It keeps me up at night. And Darius says, yeah, I know. I used to work the hell out of it. Now, we know who they're talking about, and we know what they're talking about. But again, this is men being men. Darius and Wood are not thugs. They are both educated. They carry themselves a certain way. So they're not going to call each other names and do stuff like that. But this is them kind of going to battle without going to battle, right? And so, Wood says to Darius, yeah, I know you worked the job, but, I hear that you got let go. You're not working it anymore. And he says, yeah, but I quit. You always get fired. And then he's like, all right, Sheila, peace. And leaves. Cheryl, talk to me about your thoughts when you see this scene.
Well, I feel like they were just doing what men do, who's things the bigger,
Right, right,
let's I'm gonna taunt you, you taunt me. And it's crazy because I guess they were associates because the friend wouldn't really treat you like that. But
right, right.
to even be an associate with someone and be that petty, it just shows how jealous he was of him.
Yes,
Like
yes,
he was,
yes,
and then it's good that he did, find out, but this guy just really was so jealous of you to the point that he would do that and then try to throw it in your face.
yes, yes,
um
yes,
I'm proud of Darius for not really losing his temper and going there
yes,
the way that he
yes,
could have, because
yes.
he definitely was pressing all the buttons to piss this man off.
Many,
But he kept his cool for the
he
most
did,
part, and
he did.
that again goes to how great the movie was. It's showing you
Yes,
a different way to handle situations.
yes.
Like black
Agree.
men should
Yes,
handle a situation like this, even when it's
yes,
your closest friend doing it to you. There's
yes,
a better way to handle it. Because, back in
yes.
our 20s, the guys would have just punched you and did all, beat you
It would have
down.
been a fight. It would have been a bad thing. I've seen
Right,
men die,
right.
right? So yeah, it would have been a bad thing. I agree with you. I like the way they handle it, and we're gonna learn more about Wood on this next slide and in the next scene. Uh, so this is the party where it all goes down, right? So Savan is separated from his wife over money issues or whatever, and so he brings a friend to work. This is my friend. Um, and Sheila's like, what? Like, what? Your friend? Aren't you married? Right? And again, this was something that I liked about this movie, is though even though they didn't judge him, they did kind of give him the side eye, like, dude, you're married. This is not acceptable. Right? Because in
Mm-hmm.
some circles they would have gone right on with it, but we see that this circle that there is some morality there. And I like that about it, right? I like that, you know, Sheila and Darius are like, bro, what's up? You're married. What are you doing? Right? And again, two of the most famous lines ever, right? Uh, I'm sorry. Savan says to Darius, all y'all told me not to get married. And Darius says, well, I also said the Commodores get back together. Who knew? Right? Again, one of my favorite lines. And my favorite line from this movie that is so true is like, people jump and fall in love. They fall in love here, they fall in love. Fall in love ain't shit. Somebody please talk to me about how to stay there. That is gospel. I can tell you that right there is gospel. That is my favorite line from this movie. I love it. And Savan tells Darius, all y'all can step. He said, do I love my wife? Yes. Is my wife here? No. Basically, he's saying, look, I'm doing me. I'm trying to manage while this chick is out here doing her. I'm doing me. Okay? All right. And then here we go, guys. Here we go. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Let's do
Ready?
Yeah.
it. Let's do it. Woods O'Haton backstabbing ass shows up at this party. This mother, I can't stand his ass, right? And Darius was talking to them about doing a dance, and Wood walks in there, and it was so funny because Wood, in his own mind, is so jealous of Darius. At this point, is what we realize he's not in love with Nina. He just wants to be Darius.
Mm-hmm.
He covets what Darius has.
Yeah.
Darius' cool demeanor, Darius' ability to do poetry, Darius' way with women. He wants to be Darius. He doesn't want Nina. And he shows up, and that lets you know how jealousy can cloud your mind and put you in
Mm-hmm.
this delusion, because he shows up with her and they look at him like, what the hell is wrong with you? And at this point, all of his friends look at him like, bro, you've gone too far. This is it. Ed says to him in his great voice, you are so foul. Ed just had this guy. You are so foul. And Savon is like, you know what you're doing is fucked up, right? You know what you're doing is fucked up, right? And Savon is really, if Sheila doesn't intervene, I really feel like Savon is about to
Put his foot in there.
Yeah, he about to whoop some ass. You know, because Savon is his boy, and you can see the anger coming all over him. And then Darius comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he sees stupid ass, hating ass Hollywood, and Hollywood's like, "What's up, Darius? Like, I've won. Like, I'm here. Like, this is what I've been waiting on the whole time." It's almost like a soap opera, right? Oh, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I've been waiting on the whole time. And Nina comes down, and Darius puts it together that she's here with him. And the look he gives her,
Look at death.
the look he gives her, it's like, what
Like,
the
really?
hell are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
And she looks at Hollywood and says, I need to see you outside now. And it's funny because in this moment, Hollywood has, as my father would say, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to be embarrassed. Because he says to his friend, guys, I'll be right back. Like, what the hell did you think was going to happen, Wood?
Right.
What planet? What are you smoking? What planet are you living on? Right? And so she says to him, and let me tell you something. The one thing we can glean from Nina Mosley is Nina does not like to be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second time in this movie she's really been embarrassed. Okay, and she doesn't like, and she says to him, "You and Darius can compare each other to see whose thing is bigger on another time. You embarrassed the shit out of me, and I want you to take me home." And do you know what this fool does? Do you know what this fool does? To cap it all, to just encompass his character and the kind of duty he says, I ain't taking you home. You can walk, which lets you know he never wanted her anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't want Darius to have her, which is what the devil does, which is what envy does. That's why you shouldn't envy anybody, because he didn't want her. So you basically just hurt two people. And for what? For your own ego, for your own pride, for your own arrogance, right? And it's interesting. I'm sorry, let me take a step back. So at this moment, Wood goes back in the house, and Darius says, "Where's Nina?" And he's like, "I don't know." And even though Nina has done him dirty, broke his heart, he really cares about her. He loves her. So you know what he does? He goes to get his coat, and he wants to make sure she gets back safe. And that's love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad with you. Even though you did this, I don't want any harm to come to you. I'm going to make sure you get back, right? And it's funny because he walks away. He's like, look, slow down. And he's like, calm down. You know what I mean?
I hear like somebody stole your fucking bike.
Right. Exactly. Say that again. Say that again.
He said, you walking out here like somebody stole your fucking bike.
Right. And you know this isn't safe. I just want to make sure you get home safely, right?
Right.
And he walks her to the telephone booth or whatever, where the cab picks her up. And we've all done this, right? I know my wife and I have done this when I've been angry. Like sometimes we're arguing and I'm angry, and I don't want to say what I need to say, but I need to say it. But I wait until she's about to leave and just blurt something out, right? So they're sitting there not saying anything. They're just mad. And the cab comes, and what's Darius say? How you gonna go out with my boy? How you gonna do that, right? And this is where I lose my shit with Nina. Okay. This is where I lose my shit. She says to him, well, if you were gonna be with somebody, you could have told me. And I thought that was just so hypocritical. Okay. I thought, Nina, you're being real selfish right here. You told this man you're going to explore something. You cannot in good conscience expect him to just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense at all. Yet not only does she say it, but she has the nerve to be mad about it, right? Now, maybe, and this is because I did have a conversation with somebody, and what she said to me was something I hadn't thought of before. And she said, well, maybe Nina was thinking that he was dating her all along, right? And if that's the case, then that's different. And I can see that, right? Maybe Nina was thinking he was dating her while he was dating me. You get what I'm saying? I'm still not excusing it. She's still.
I still don't go for that, because I mean, even if that was the case, you still could have came at it from a different angle, not
Agreed.
with anger. You could have,
Agreed.
let them
Agreed.
go, ask the question,
Agreed.
and stop doing
Agreed.
all this assuming the entire time.
Agreed.
It was hypocritical. I mean,
It
regardless of
was.
how you slice it, it was. But one of the things I want to go back a little bit real quick, because I thought it was interesting.
You cutting out a little bit. KJ, you there?
Oh yeah, can you guys hear us? Hello,
I can
hello.
hear you. I can hear you a little bit better. Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you. Go ahead.
So I thought it was interesting that the fact that, because that she even would go out with dude Wood. To me, I'm like, I'm done with you. Like, I can never trust you. The fact that you would, like, I can see you going to see your ex. I can see if you were just, you saw somebody else and start dating them, but you're gonna date one of my homies. Well,
Right.
truly not a homie, but just
Right.
somebody that's in my
Correct.
circle. Like,
Correct.
I can never trust you again. But
Correct.
that's neither here
Correct.
nor there. Okay. But
Correct.
it was
Correct.
interesting the fact that she would go to the party with him, seeing all of them. You had to know the chances of Darius being there were great, right? So why would you even want to do that? So to me, I'm thinking, like, in the back of your mind, did you want him to see you with him?
That
You
that
know what I'm
is
saying?
that is a good point.
Because I'm like,
That,
okay, this is his circle, so
yeah,
they always hang
yeah,
together. So you like,
yeah,
so that
yeah.
was. I thought about that when I was watching. I was like, man, you was foul. That was
And
foul.
as a matter of fact, he says that to her.
That's
Well,
the
what did
game
you
I was
think
talking
was going to
about.
happen? He
Right.
says that to her right now. Again, I think she's being a little naive here, but I agree with you. In the back of her mind, she had to know this day was coming. And
Yeah.
on some level or another, whether or not she wanted to acknowledge it, she's punishing Darius.
That's the
She's
game
Correct.
I
punishing.
was talking about a little while ago when I
Yeah,
said she's playing games. I was talking about when she got back and went to the party with Wood. Like, that's a game that you're playing to try to piss him off because you
right,
saw him in the library with the girl. So it's like,
right,
okay, well now I'm about to do one up you and let
right,
you see me with your friend.
right,
Kind of
right.
goes to that old saying, hurt people hurt people. So it's
Yeah.
like,
At 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. So guys, I'm not from Chicago. I believe all three of you are. No?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna let you guys take over because Nina calls Darius and she invites him to the VON stepper set. Now, I've never been to a stepper set. Y'all are from Chicago. This is a Chicago thing. I do know that it appears that Darius can step, right? But you guys being from Chicago, I really want to hear your perspective. Talk about this scene. Was it authentic? Give me your thoughts on your impressions, and I don't care who starts. It could be Ray, it could be KJ, it could be Cheryl. Talk to me about this scene at the VON stepper set.
So yeah, it's real, and the way they filmed it again was great. Um, and Lorenz Tate, he's from Chicago, so
Yeah,
he's as far as just that familiarity with that just stepping in general. I think they film, like I said, they filmed it great, and the way they went in, the movement, the music, and everything. Yeah, again, it just goes into why the movie was so great. Certain things that they knocked out the park, and I think that was another scene that they did. Um, and it just, it just showed like that joy that they had. Like, man, I really am digging this chick, and she's
yeah,
really feeling me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
yeah, just yeah, I thought it was beautiful.
yeah. Me too. Cheryl, your thoughts? VON stepper set.
She ran away for a second. She's coming back.
Okay, my bad. Ray,
No, you
your
good.
thoughts? Ray, your thoughts on VON stepper set?
Um, No, I think it was authentic. I think the setting was authentic. Um, the sound. I mean, I love the soundtrack to this movie. It's awesome.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I was feeling it all.
Now, Ray, let me ask you this question.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, KJ, um, you don't know this about me, but I talk a lot of trash. I talk
I told
I
him
talk
already.
I talk a lot of trash. And KJ, sometimes it gets me in trouble. Okay.
Very much so.
Um, so I was talking trash to Ray about bowling. And KJ,
I told him already.
um, well, I'm gonna share it with the audience. I got my ass whooped by Ray's entire family. I got my ass whooped by Ray's. I'm the only person that I know that took an ass whooping from an entire family. Her entire family whooped my ass at bowling. They really did. They really did. I mean, her entire I believe her daughter probably could have, they didn't even let the daughter bowl, but I think her daughter would have been like, sucker. And she
Take
probably,
some, take some, take
you know
some.
what I mean? Probably would have done it. But here's where I'm going. Ray's from a very talented family. Ray,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna say you probably can. Can you step? I believe you can, but can you step?
I can pretend.
See, I don't believe you, Ray, because you said the same shit about bowling, and you whooped my ass. I don't, and I love you, Ray, but I'm gonna call bullshit on that. I don't believe you. Like you probably would have been out there with Darius, right? Because KJ, let me tell you how she played me. She was like, "Yeah, I've bowled before a couple of times." Like she really, KJ, she set me up, KJ. Okay, I'm letting you
I'm
know.
back.
She kicked the shit out of me at bowling. Okay. So when she says, "Oh, I know," that's code for hell yeah, I can step. Hell yeah, it is. Cheryl, I'm sorry. I was reminiscing over an ass whooping that I took from never mind. Anyway.
That sound
Um,
about right.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
very
yeah,
competitive. She can't help
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. So Cheryl, give me your thoughts on the VON stepper set.
Oh, yeah, that was a nice scene.
Was it authentic?
Definitely gave the vibe of Chicago, having fun, stepping,
Okay.
dancing. Definitely get you in the mood. You know, dancing and having fun. You could be having a rough day going through something, but once you
Yeah.
start dancing and laughing, it takes the mood away. You know, the it changes the mood, and you're into having fun and just enjoying yourself. And that's what they needed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hey, definitely. Um, So then, after that, they have a great time there. There's the long walk home. Shout out to what's her name? What's that song? Oh, what? Oh God, Jill Scott. Anyway, um, and Nina says to Darius, okay, that's what I call a real date. And he's like, what do you mean not a real date? And I really think Nina is still caught up on the fact that she slept with them on the first date and feeling guilty about it because that is a societal norm. And so I think she's calling this a proper courtship, right?
Mhm.
But they move on. They go home, and Nina sends Darius to the couch. And my wife has done this to me. Okay. And God damn it, Kim, I didn't appreciate it. But she sends him to the couch, right? And she knew what she was doing. She's like, can you unzip this for me? And just like, but why? We had this great date. And no, she wants to make him wait, right? And oh my God, she just, he's down there and he's on the couch and she's suffering too, but it's the game that they play,
Yeah.
as Cheryl would say. And Darius, figures out, I know what to do. Because again, at the end of the day, women just want to be wooed. They want to be chased. Even when you've been together for so long, women want to be chased. They want to be wooed. We got to be creative. So Darius comes up and says, "Hey, can I play a song for you?" And this is kind of their language, and
That's what they
it
do.
reignites that flame. KJ, you got something you want to say about that, or your thoughts?
It was funny. Just remembering the scene and how they were both like, it's like you both want something, but who's gonna make the first move to try
Right.
to and I love the fact that he's like, look, man, um, I can't just sit down here all night with this fine woman upstairs. We just had a great night.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
like, everything is everything is high, right? So it's
We
like, all
have
right,
to score. We
we got
have to
hey, listen,
score
man.
here.
Right,
Okay. It's fourth in the playoffs. We gotta score. Okay. We
right,
gotta figure it out. Okay. So
right.
Cheryl, if you don't know, I'm that guy that does everything with sports analogies. I know it's cumbersome.
Ken does too. KJ
Yeah.
does too.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. 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 You know what? I'm amongst friends. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So they reignite their relationship and they're going strong, and you see this montage of them going to dinner, and you see Nina finish Darius's cigarette, and you see her start to smoke, which is kind of the writer's way of pointing out that when you're with somebody and you're really with them, you begin to take on their habits and so to speak. We see Wood in the club and he's looking pitiful. He's looking like, damn, I've lost. And, I personally felt great about it because I just feel like Wood's an asshole. And I don't like him. So there, I said it. And so then Nina sees a couple in the park and they're in love. And I think Nina says to herself, I'm in love. And then it gets real for Nina because now she's vulnerable. And again, where we saw Darius being in love earlier, and not that Nina wasn't in love now, but I think at this point she admits it to herself. We have trouble brewing, right? So Nina comes home. Darius is on the phone with the post office. She hangs up. She wants to have sex with him. They do. And then Lisa calls at 3 or 5 or some ungodly hour. And this just does not go over well with Nina. And nor should it. Okay. But this was kind of the beginning of the end, right? Now, remember, guys, when we first started this, I asked you guys to remember a couple of things, right? One of them was, do you want to be? Right? Remember that?
Earlier, yep.
Yep.
Darius says, do you want a beer? When she's getting ready to go off to New York. And when Nina broaches the conversation and where she wants to go, first thing she says is, do you want a beer? He says, no. She says, do you want to know if I had sex with Wood? And he says, no. And she says, why? He says, because I learned a long time ago not to ask questions that I didn't want to know the answer to, right? And so she's really doing this, right, as a vehicle or a mode of getting into the inappropriate relationship that she feels he has with Lisa. But she's doing it by basically uncovering her dirt first, right? Because she wants to kind of back in her way into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's like, look, come on, man. And he sees she's upset. So he picks up the camera and he says, take your clothes off, right? Now, again, that's another one of those. There's another one that comes up that I ask you guys to remember. And he says, wait a minute.
Don't you trust me?
Right. And she says, no. And this denotes the end of their relationship, because what happens at that point is a massive argument, right? And it's interesting. There are a couple of things that come out in this argument that men and women do. Okay? Now, the whole thing about, hey, don't you want to ask me about this? My wife does that, right? If my wife is laying a trap for me, she will bring up something or a conversation that she wants to get into, but she won't put what she really wants on the front. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
She's kind of leading me into it, right? lead me into it. You know what I mean? She's lead me into it. So, oh wait, we got Ryan from the Birdcage. What up, Ryan? Ryan says laugh out loud at Hollywood. Ryan says, yeah, the energy flip. What up, Ryan? So she's leading him into this, right? And she begins to say, well, what do you want me to think? Oh my God. I just swallowed a gnat. Oh my God. Ugh.
Oh man, you good?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But anyway, my wife laughed. So he says to her, no, she says to him, well, what do you want me to think? You get calls at 5 a.m. You've got a number up here. I don't trust it. And he says, we've been over this. I've told you we are just friends. You know, why are you tripping? Now, in her defense, I don't have many friends that's going to give me a call at 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. That shit's not going to go over well with Kimberly. You know what I mean? Not not anybody, but especially not a female calling me at 3 o'clock. Like that ain't gonna go over well, right? So, but here's what we learned, right? And here's what's key about this.
Fucking mad cow.
Woo. Here's what's key about this. Darius blows up at her.
I'm
You
gonna bring
gonna
you
be
some
all
water,
right?
family.
Darius.
You need to do the Heimlich maneuver or
The,
something.
the, the bug trying to come out. He like, no, don't.
Something going on. Oh no.
He's trying to get his revenge. The little bastard. Anyway. Damn you to hell, bug. Anyway. Okay. So sorry guys. Sorry about my voice.
It's all good.
So as she's basically accusing him, he explodes. And here's what's key about this. He's been holding on to this for their entire relationship. He's been mad about it for their entire relationship. But because he loves her, because he wants her, he swallowed it, which a lot of men do. And she doesn't realize this. She doesn't realize what she stepped into, right? Until it's too late. When he says, go to your apartment and get your shit, it was at this moment she realized she fucked up. She doesn't realize what's taking place here. He has been choking on this. He has been, it has been bugging him, which it would bug me. It would bug any man. If you're dating a woman and she says, I want to go and see what this is about, it's gonna bug. There's no healthy way to deal with that except to maybe go to therapy, right? Which they don't. So he's choking on it. And all of it comes out. He says, you went to New York and fucked the old boy. Then you come back here and you out here hanging with my friends. And you know what? Let's go to my apartment and get your shit. Why would you be with somebody that you didn't trust? Now, here's the thing. This relationship with Lisa could be inappropriate because they did do the grown folk. Let's be honest. They've clearly established that they were more than friends. They did do the grown folk. And why are you still talking to her if you're now dating? You know what I mean? Why is, because this was fresh. This wasn't like it was 8-10 years ago. This was like a few months before she gets back, right? So this relationship could be inappropriate. The writer never tells us. But what we do realize is Darius feels like he's entitled to it. Like, how dare you even go there when you did what you did, right? Cheryl, talk to me about how you're feeling about this scene. Talk to me about what's going on here.
Sure. Well, a couple of things. Once again, to me, they're just, it could have been done better. Not the movie, but just the way that they handled the situations.
Right.
If it's something that's bothering you, speak on it. They didn't, so they had to wait for an explosion, an
Right.
argument, for them to
Right.
just lay out all their dirty laundry at
Right.
one time.
Right.
With him now, The Lisa calling at 5 in the morning, he clearly had wanted, start back talking to Nina, and he could have very well told Lisa that it's over. Who knows? That they never showed that part, and she
Right.
just called to be messy. Women are
That's
like
true.
that, so she could
That's
have just
true.
been calling to throw a monkey wrench in what he has going on. Um, but once he tried to take the picture of her and he asked, "What, you don't trust me?" When she said no, that I feel really upset him. And then it just kind of was like, okay, well, then I can lay out all your mess, because if you don't trust me, I don't trust you either. Like, you didn't, you know, went out with my boy, you done went back to New York, and it was just an opportunity for him to lay it all out for her. Her just knowing that she's seen him with Lisa and her calling, and she didn't have the nerve or courage to bring up the conversation herself. She tried to segue into it, kind of play a little game like, hey, do you want to ask me about Wood if we slept together? And when he didn't take the bait, now she is left hanging with, okay, because that was her opportunity to ask him about Lisa. That's what
Mhm.
I kind of feel like. She was just trying to segue into it, but
Yep.
since he didn't take the bait, she was left hanging, and it just kind of ended up into an explosion of an argument.
Yep.
But neither one of them really wanted to be honest about their feelings up front, so it
Yeah.
came out in an ugly, nasty argument.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. I agree. I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, I do as
Um,
well.
it feels like Darius is like, look, I took your shit. You're
Right.
don't you dare.
Right.
Don't you
Right,
dare.
exactly. I'm literally talking to
Don't
you after you
you
left me to go
right.
be with
Don't
another
you
man. Like,
dare
really?
ask
Right.
me
How
about that,
dare you?
right?
The audacity.
Right. And here's the thing. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I feel like she has the right to ask. Now, she doesn't have the right to assume,
Right.
but she does have the right to broach the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he responds that way lets you know he's been holding on to this. And
Mm-hmm.
ooh, and you know what? That is a man thing, because I have done that with my wife. She done some shit and I've been mad and I didn't say anything. And she'll say something like, "Can you take the
Mm-hmm.
something down?" What do you mean, Kim? God damn it. You didn't leave me the chips downstairs and I was really hungry and it was 3 months ago. And you know what I mean? You, to your point, you have, I'm being silly, but you have to communicate, right? It is key.
It's
You have to
best.
be able to get that off your chest, and you got to be able to trust each other to know that, hey, my feelings are safe with you. Because the
Mm-hmm.
reason men are the way they are, and I'm just gonna be honest, and every guy out here will agree with me. Men are typically vulnerable with a woman one time, and when our feelings are treated a certain way, hey, we're not accustomed to, we're not taught to deal with feelings. We're taught to don't cry, hold it. So we don't like dealing with them anyway, right? So here's the thing: if I come to you and I say something, Cheryl, so and so, and when you did this, blah 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 blah, and you make fun of me for it, or you bring it
Mm-hmm.
up in an argument 3 months later, I now can't trust you with that.
Yeah.
And you will never again, I will never be vulnerable to a certain extent with you, because I couldn't trust you with it. Because when I came to you with something I was really being honest with you about my feelings, and you stepped on them. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to feel that way again. I don't want to be in that position. So I'm not going to trust you to that point. Right. I might love you. We might still be in a relationship, but I'm not going to, there's certain things I'm not going to discuss with you because I don't trust you, because I can't trust my feelings. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every relationship after that is this cat and mouse dance of, okay, well, how close is he going to let me in? I mean, he's here, but he's not here. I mean, I know he loves me, he does these things, but he's not. And what you're feeling is the fact that that man doesn't feel safe with all women because of the first
Mm-hmm.
woman that
That
did
hurt.
that to him. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's real, and that is essentially what's going on here, right? Um, so they break up. And Darius does the guy thing, and
Mhm.
I can admit guys do this, right? Which it's another thing that men should not do to women. But when we see that you're emotional and you're crying and in your feelings, we just have to milk it. I don't know why we do it, but we do. So she comes back to her place. She's crying. She's like, "Well, I guess I have everything." And he's like, "Shut my door on your way out," which he didn't have to do. Right? He did not have to do that, but he couldn't resist, right? Because she's vulnerable, and god dang it, I just got to get that last blow, right? I got to get that last blow. We got one more person that's joining us. It's Ryan, the historian. Ryan, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the show. You doing all right?
What's good, T Will? I'm good, baby. How you doing, man?
All good, man. All good. Look, we just out here discussing Love Jones, man, and
I
we're
know.
into the last couple of scenes. But hey, brother, you're always welcome. Ryan, please say hello to Sheree and Cheryl and KJ. As they've been on the show with me as well. Everyone, this is Ryan, good friend of mine, friend of the
Hey,
show.
Ryan. How you
Hello.
doing?
You
Hey,
know,
how y'all
very
doing?
positive brother. Ryan, the historian, knows everything about everything from an HBCU perspective, knows everything about everything from the history of the game of football, is way wise beyond his years. I know that's not grammatically correct, but, you know, hey, Ryan's my guy, man. So, Ryan, welcome. We're in the scene where Darius tells Nina to get her shit and leave. Okay. And we now approach the part in the relationship where it's the post breakup scene, and Nina and Darius are dealing with the effect of the breakup, and their lives are in chaos. So we see Nina's place, and she's got shit all over the place. And y'all know when you go through a bit of a depression, like you don't want to clean up. So her place is
That's
a
a lot.
mess. That's how we see that. We see Darius trying to type and work on his book, and he slams the typewriter because he's thinking about Nina. And then we see Darius have the conversation with Ed where he says, you know, do you think there's only one good woman, you know, or one or two good people that you know can have a relationship with? And Ed says to him, "Hey, love is with is what you make with whom you make it, right?" And you know, during this time, they got to collectively get their stuff together. Um, where am I? So Nina's friend calls Darius to say, "Hey, Nina got the job in New York. She's leaving. I felt like you should know." And Darius does what all guys what all guys have done, and that's kind of lie to yourself. Oh, I don't need her. I don't love her. I don't care if she is leaving. And then as time ticks on by, right? He's like, "Shit, man. I gotta go get my girl," right? And he waits too late and he hops on his motorcycle. You know, again, the whole James Dean thing, the 50s motorcycle, the black leather jacket, riding through traffic, running through the train station like OJ, right? And he gets there and it's not in time. And she goes to New York, right? And then we see him a year later. And Darius's book is released. And he only thanks one person. And he sends it. He doesn't say Nina, but he says, "To the woman who helped me get to the next level, she knows who she is," right? And Nina is also very successful at her job, and she's coming back to Chicago to do a photo shoot. Um, and she goes to the club, the Sanctuary, to read a poem that she wrote, even though it was really written by Sonia Sanchez, but for the movie, she wrote it for Darius, and it's called Remembering Love, right? And remember, guys, in the beginning, when I said, look at how Nina is looking out the window at the first scene, remembering love. And ironically, at the end of the movie, she writes the poem is Remembering Love. And she's basically talking about her feelings for Darius and remembering what it was. She's well received, right? Um, she doesn't see Darius is in the club. He's in the club. She's getting ready to get in the get into the cab to leave, and he calls out to her, and she runs to him. And what's interesting is, as she's leaving the club, she slams the journal that she had the poem written in the trash, which lets you know the only reason she came there was to meet Darius and rekindle it. And Darius sees her. Um, and he says again, you know, one of my favorite lines, "This right here, right now, It's all that matters to me. I love you. That's urgent like a motherfucker. And, he pulls her in. She's like, I'm in New York. I live here. I live there. Blah, 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 blah. They work it out. It's great. The end. Everybody. And Ryan, we're gonna let you talk first because you really haven't had a chance to say your piece. Give me your thoughts on this last scene and what you were thinking when you saw this.
Well, apparently the man's heart was really on his sleeve to actually go out and pull her in right there and just say the hell with everything else. I'm just gonna make it work regardless of how I feel or
Yeah,
regardless of what the situation is.
yeah,
Regardless, you know, I don't give a damn what any cat say up on here. It's always that one that has you like that. It does not matter. It's
right,
always one.
right.
And when you look at that scene, you might not do it like he did, but there's always a significance with that. And us as cats that's out here, you gonna speak how you feel at that moment. You gonna let it know. You gonna just pretty much put it out there if you're wearing your heart on your sleeve like he did.
Yeah.
But I think he enjoyed making her sweat it out a little bit. I think he really enjoyed that, and that's why she slammed that journal the way that she did. And I know he saw it, and I know he was probably like, "Uh-huh, I got you
Yeah,
pissed off. Let me
yeah,
go ahead and get out here and go get you."
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, just mental games. But at the end of the day, look, with all the stuff that went down, I really believe that that last scene was very significant to like show, you know what, regardless of what's going on, if it's somebody for you, they're for you. Go get them. Don't let them slide.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
what I took from that scene. And he just didn't care. That long distance thing, they'll figure it out. You love somebody, trust me, you'll figure it out. Folks in the military do it all the time. I can attest to that.
that is true. That's very true. Ray, how you feeling about that last scene?
Mm.
Ray, you there? Okay.
So it's like,
Cheryl, how you feel about that last scene?
um, I think it came full circle, you know. Um, I think they both kind of realize you're my person and it's time to put the games aside and to really tell you how I feel.
Yeah,
Um, it was good to see her because for the whole movie it seemed like he kind of chased her, you
yeah,
know. he
yeah,
he tried to play the music, he did all these things to try to get her, and then finally she comes back in town and it's like, well, let me go to where I think he may be and let me chase him for once.
right,
Let me show him I'm not always trying to play hard to get.
right,
Let me show him that, in hopes that he's there, that I'm really interested in him again.
right,
Um,
right.
so it seemed like they kind of the roles reversed itself, and love wins.
Amen.
Black love is wonderful.
Amen. Amen. KJ, how you feeling about this scene, brother?
I mean, it was a perfect ending, man, to a great movie. I think that throughout the movie, you see moments where, like, I know this isn't just a coincidence.
Yeah,
Like where he runs into her in these places where it's like, okay, what is the likelihood that she would be here, right? And
right,
so you see that I think two or three times in the movie, and here it is, the last scenes of the movie. Here it is again that she shows up. He could have been anywhere,
right,
right? Chicago's a big city. Could have been anywhere, right? But she goes there again, like Cheryl just said. She goes there with hoping to see him.
yep,
He happened to be there that night. You know what I'm saying? Now it might have been just, hey, that's a poetry night, but whatever it is, for
right,
poetic reasons, no pun intended, but that here it is again. This woman is showing up in my life. Why? If you whatever you believe in, right? We keep getting put in positions where we have each other. What are we gonna do? And I think both of them realize it's like, I'm not gonna let you go this time, regardless. And I think they came to that conclusion together, and they, put all the pettiness and all the immaturity and all that aside, and it says, like Cheryl said, love wins. I love you. So no matter what, we're gonna do whatever it takes to see this out. And so yeah, it was poetic.
I agree. I agree with that. I'm sorry, y'all. I had walked away. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. It's okay.
No, I completely agree. I feel like when it comes to people being in relationships, it can be very complicated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be even messy. But at the end of the day, if everybody is upfront and we're communicating, you can turn whatever was a mess around and make it something beautiful.
Right.
Ain't nobody.
It's just about the connection that y'all share.
Right.
That's my take on it.
No, you're 100% right. Now, to be fair, I did read Darius's poem. I don't want to be a misogynist, so I'm going to read this poem that was written by Nina in the movie, but really is by Sonia Sanchez, who she refers to. So I feel like them doing that is an homage to Sanchez. I also feel like a lot of the artwork was an homage to Gordon Parks, but I'd be remiss if I didn't do it. So Nina stands up and she says, "It is the color of light, the shape of sound high in the evergreens. It lies suspended in hills, a blue line in a red sky. I am looking at sound. I am hearing the brightness of high bluffs and almond trees. I'm tasting the wilderness of lakes, rivers, and streams, caught in an angle of song. I'm remembering water that glows in the dawn, the motion tumbled in earth, life hidden in mounds. I'm dancing a bright beam of light. I'm remembering love." So I did want to do that because I read Darius's poem. It's not fair to not read Nina's. But guys, some things that I really wanted to touch on about this movie that I just love. And number one, this is probably one of my top 5 movies of all time. What I really loved about this movie is, number one, this was an intelligent look at love. It happened to be an African American story. It was an intelligent look at love. But what I really liked about it is these people stayed down, right? Everything that you saw was in the hood. They didn't leave and go to the suburbs. Everything that you saw, even though they were professional, even they were still down. They were still communal. They still had a sense of self. And I love that about this movie. And I think oftentimes that point is missed on people because the movie was so good, but the record store, or the record store,
Record
as,
store
as,
Prince.
as
Man,
Sam Cooke,
go ahead and touch your
Prince.
cherry moon with.
as
Right.
Sam
Where you
Cooke,
go to
Go ahead and touch your.
Sam Cooke
Go
album.
ahead and touch your under the cherry moon stuff. The
there
Yes,
you
record
go.
Prince.
store.
The record
The
Record
store
record store.
store.
was in the hood. It was in the hood. All of the imagery was authentic. I loved it. The
Mm-hmm.
restaurants, the stepper set.
The
It
sound.
was a celebration of culture, and I loved it. I really loved that piece of the movie. And the only thing that saddens me is they never came back and did a sequel. And at this point now, I don't know, it's probably too late, right? But I really would have loved a sequel just to see how Darius and Nina ended up, right? I thought it was this is one of my favorite movies. And so guys, just so you know, and everyone on this podcast right now, Ryan, KJ, Sheree, Cheryl, you guys are welcome to join me anytime. I'm doing a series called Blue Lights in the Basement, and they're basically movies like this, right? So I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do The Best Man, 1 and 2, and the series. I'm gonna do The Wood because you just can't do it without doing The Wood. I'm gonna do Boys in the Hood. I'm gonna do New Jack City. I'm gonna do certain cultural films. It'll probably be maybe 8 or 9 of them. But I would love for you guys, if you feel the notion, to come back and have a discussion like this because this was really fun, guys. I enjoy stuff like this. I do it because I love it, and this was fun. And you guys all made this experience better. So, number one, Cheryl, KJ, Sheree, Ryan, thank you for joining me because you guys didn't have to. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Thank you for taking your time to do this. You cutting out? You there?
You know
Hello?
it's a good look.
I don't know why. Yes,
You
we
cutting
enjoyed
out?
ourselves as well.
Okay. Well, at least it waited to the end of it to cut out, right? But I think you said you enjoyed yourselves as well, but Cheryl, look, Sheree, KJ, Ryan, this was fun. This was fun. I love this movie. I love talking about two things. Well, my wife says three things. I love talking about sports and movies, and my wife says myself. I don't really agree with her, but whatever. I'm a narcissist. Who cares? But no, seriously, guys. Anytime you guys want to join, I would love for you guys to come back. So next Saturday, I am doing The Wood, which is a coming of age story, one of my favorites as well. If you guys feel the notion, you're welcome to join me. It'll probably be around the same time. And I can't thank you. And those who join us in the chat, Chris, Deshaun, definitely Ryan. Thank you guys. You guys could have been anywhere in the world. And Ryan, thank you for joining me. But I'm so glad y'all decided to just spend this time with me. Ryan, we know that you have a show of your own on the Birdcage, look, Ryan is talented in and of himself. Ryan has a silver tongue, can spin a tale from miles away, and has more knowledge of the game, has probably forgotten more about the game of football than I will ever know. Ryan, tell these folks where they can find you.
Well, before I tell them that, I want to make 2 movie suggestions that you should add to your collection with this.
Okay, brother. What you got?
You got a movie with Columbus Short called Beyond the Lights. That's something that it's a love story or whatnot. You definitely can check out if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Another one, you left the classic out if you hadn't done it already. How do you not throw Boomerang in there, my guy?
You're right. You know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right about that. You're right about you got it. And look, we can add it. We can add it. Ryan, that you know what? That just confirms the fact that you just need to be a part of the project, right? So hey, you know what I mean? Look it. I'm gonna do this every Saturday at 5 that I can. Sometimes I gotta do duties, from the wife.
You've been trying to get me on a lot of projects.
Well, shame on you for being so damn talented. It's your fault, not mine. It's your fault.
I appreciate the compliment, man. Look, I just appreciate you having me around. And I just enjoy working with you when I get the time to. You can check myself and the magnificent Birdcage crew out at the Birdcage LLC on YouTube on Thursdays at 8 p.m. We discuss Atlanta Falcons football mainly, but we also have a segment called On the Perk, which is an interview segment where we have former athletes that come in and they do their thing or whatnot, tell us their story, and they actually definitely enjoy coming through or whatnot. So y'all check that out. And during the season, we also have a show called The Pregame Meal. That's before the Falcons game, do a halftime report, and then we have a show afterwards called The Party Line if the Falcons win and the benediction if the Falcons lose. It's entertaining either way. So thank y'all for having me on, T. Will. Definitely look forward to working with you, and it was nice meeting everybody in the studio.
You as well.
Thank you.
Ryan, you're always welcome, brother. You're always welcome. And hey, man, it's nothing but love and respect, brother. So I'll just say until next time, man. Hey, let's do it again.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ryan. Cheryl and KJ and Sheree, guys, we got to do this again. Now, I don't know, what your plans are, but this was too much fun, guys. Yeah. This was too much fun. Mm-hmm. We cannot let this go. So we got to do this again. So
this was fun.
I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Can you guys make it next Saturday, or do I need to push it out like another week? Like, give me your thoughts on that.
Next Saturday.
You know what next Saturday date is? Oh, not next Saturday. I have an engagement for next Saturday. So you do it every Saturday?
Well, I am.
Okay.
I'm because I'm trying to cover like a bunch of movies, mm-hmm. right? These are movies that just are near and dear to my heart, and I want to talk about them because when's the last time you saw a preview on Love Jones, right? Like you see stuff about Love Actually and certain movies all the time, but what about certain classics that are important to us? And you know what I mean when I say the collective us, you know what I'm saying? So I want to do that because I don't think it's being done enough, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just like talking about movies. Anyway, so but I mean, yeah, so you guys let me know, right? I'll push it back. Like you let me know. Ray, you can sync up with Cheryl and KJ and let me know the next time y'all can do it, and then we'll just plan to do it on that day. But Cheryl,
Yeah.
KJ,
Yeah.
very nice meeting you guys
You as
again.
well.
Thank you so much for joining me. Ray, you know I love you. You're basically family.
Love you too.
So, hey, let's get together and do this again. Again, to everyone in the chat, thank you. Guys, this can be seen at For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. And guess what, Cheryl and KJ and Ray? You guys can, this is recorded, so you can go back and see yourself on this recording. Ray did, I know, right? I know. Ray actually did Centers with me. That was her first. And she did a great job. And guess what, Ray? You're only getting better. So, you know what I mean? Hey, let's keep this thing going and keep it pushing. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. To everyone in the chat who joined, thank you again. I can be reached at For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. You can check me out. Please like, share, and subscribe if you get the opportunity. Last but not least, I want to thank God because I would not be here without him. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you, God, for everything that you do. Thank you for giving me this show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Last but not least, I want to thank Mr. Jack Spade and Eric Parker for giving me my shot in this business. And again, thank you to Ryan for joining us. Thank you to Chris A1 for watching, and also Deshaun. You guys have an amazing day, an amazing weekend, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next couple of weeks. Good night, everybody, and goodbye.
Take care.
You guys
Thanks.
can hang.
Bye-bye.
You got. Don't hang up yet.